6, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane by to visit Glen Rock, need crypto, told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. Who you with?
So I just wanted to give a special shout out for the person who made this episode possible. Shout out to Orion, who picked the topic, gave a generous sum of money to all three people here and said, we'll make this happen. I'm assuming that's because of, a lot of the musical discussions we've had here. So I'm very excited about Orion. And he also has some music that I'll be featuring in here that he said. He has a Metallica cover of the song Orion.
Sweet.
Which is pretty sick. It's like a synthy version of it. I do have it. So that'll be kind of fun. But yeah, guys, if you guys want to go to rcnow.org, there's the sponsored episode tier on there. All the categories are divided, or just email rarecandyindustries@gmail.com. And Jack, I know you have the guiding light tier, which did you put it on sale the other day? Did I see that?
Yeah, I did a Halloween flash sale to see what would happen for like 3 hours, and I sold 2. So I just like keeping people on their toes.
The flash sale, it's like the great Criterion.
Yeah, it's like the Criterion. I like I'm such an online shopper. I like providing that sense of urgency. That people have to get in on something really quick and have to impulsively send money for something. So
and before we get started on Metallica, because there is much to discuss, my brother-in-law gave me a dupe of Sauvage, Dior Sauvage. I kind of love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's Latafa Assad.
I can imagine what it smells like. Yeah,
it's my wife was like, take that outside. Like she's like, this is insane. It was like a legit bomb, like WMD. It's probably
the common scent of the mall of today is like fake Sauvages and those kiosks,
Amazon locker malls. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited about that. Now we're covering Metallica. Did you posted there was a Guerlain Metallica fragrance?
Yeah, no, I don't have a specific fragrance for this, but there was.
Yeah,
it's funny because I've been into Victoria's Secret fragrances lately too for the first time because I've never been into that, and within a couple of years in the late 90s, Metallica sued both Victoria's Secret and Guerlain. Victoria's Secret for creating, I think it was a lip gloss or a lip color that was called Metallica. And then Guerlain put out a limited edition fragrance in 99 called Metallica, which they changed to Metallice. So they sued 2 beauty brands. And apparently that perfume is supposed to be really good. I love the idea of Guerlain, this old French house, making a perfume called Metallica and thinking that nothing would happen. At the height of their litigiousness.
The Metallica legal
there's
team
like one bottle of it on eBay for $2,500. So if anyone wants to ship that to me right now,
hey, the possibilities are endless with these sponsored platform. I wouldn't be surprised. No, I like I said, I would never. I mean, they must just those French people must not have known about Napster.
Yeah,
they just must not have known because Lars defeated them, and we will talk about that. But Metallica, I was actually kind of thrilled because it was one of those bands. They're right in front of you, and you're just like, yeah, what am I going to cover that band? And then the answer is obviously yes. And somebody asked me to do it, and this was the first band that I loved as a kid that wasn't from my parents' record collection. So like, you have, your Zeppelins, all this stuff from my parents, my mom, a lot of the Motown stuff, a lot of like new wave and stuff. But I remember Metallica was like, it felt like something I was totally allowed to listen to, but it felt like I found it on my own, even though it was literally one of the biggest bands in the world. I felt like I found it on my own. And I have these fond memories of, this is probably post Reload at the time when I'm discovering them. And my mom bought me, we just didn't have a lot of money growing up, but she always made really cool things out of like nothing for me. So she went to the army surplus store and got me one of those army fatigue jackets when I'm like 12 years old, and put a Metallica patch on it because she's a good
Sick.
scene. I know. I was like, I wish there was, I was trying to dig up pictures. I asked her if she had any. And then eventually my dad promised me if I got good grades in seventh grade, maybe I'm guessing seventh grade, which for me was like no C's. Like if there's just
Mhm.
no C's in middle school. And he said, I'll take you on the Saint Anger tour. And I met the threshold just barely. And so he took me to the Metallica with Godsmack opening up for them at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. And I didn't know a lot about the Metallica lore, but there was pyrotechnics everywhere. And then when you hear about like James Hetfield almost being like flambéed by like, by pyrotechnics and stuff,
Yeah.
it's like, it was such a cool show because Godsmack used to make those US military like doom, 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 those like crazy commercials. And it was right at the height. It made me want to join the military. It was nuts. Godsmack was incredible. And Metallica was touring off an album that everybody hated but bought. And it was so, but after a while, like you kind of just, you don't grow out of it, because I certainly didn't, going back to get into this, you don't grow out of it, but you're just thinking like, well, there's other bands. But coming back and going through all of the albums, I was like, my God, they're so good. Like
Yeah,
I
they're
still
all
love
good.
them. It's
The biggest
crazy.
reveal with me with this was that Saint Anger is really good.
Oh, do you see?
It's great. No, I
That
like it. I like it
yeah,
way
okay,
more than the ones after it where they're like doing
okay,
what people want. I like this. I like
gotcha.
the new metal period. I was like, wow, this is pretty fresh. And then the ones after that, I mean, they're all good, but
Yeah.
they're all the same. They're kind of like that Black Sabbath 13
Mm-hmm.
level of like you can't believe how good a Tragic Dying Days of CD legacy artist album is. But yeah, I was really enjoying Saint Anger yesterday.
Yeah, I the Some Kind of Monster documentary, which I rewatched. I saw it in a limited screening at the Pruneyard Theater in Campbell when it came out. I think my dad took me, and it was just like, it's just bickering and therapy, and then them realizing that therapy is evil and like kicking their therapist out halfway through. It's really amazing.
I can't believe how real they are in that. Like even for
Yeah,
2003, I mean it's basically a reality show, like but they're
yes,
too highbrow to have made it an actual reality show, so it's a
yeah,
documentary, but it looks just like the Anna Nicole show. It has that like wonderful
yeah.
2002 ugly 4:3 aspect ratio digital video driving around LA look that I just love. And but I can't believe how like now if that were happening they would be so fake. But in
Yeah.
2003 they look pretty like astonishingly human.
Yeah, yeah. No, and they bring in like, they're like, let's bring in Dave Mustaine. And it is like a reality show. It's like,
Mhm.
let's bring in Dave Mustaine.
I
Like
love
who
Dave Mustaine. I
I
think
do, but
he's one of my favorite characters in all of this. I think he's great.
he looks like a lady who like gambles social security checks at the casino now. If you see him, he has like this insane, he still has the insane hair, and he's really shriveled up, and he just looks like he would have those big old lady sunglasses on.
He
And
looks
then
like a Renaissance painting of some like noble weird person or like a hag. But he had
yes.
those big like chocolate lozenge eyes that he has, and how like he's like really, really angry and like tearing up. Oh, I love it. I love this whole constellation of people. And yeah, you can it's like when he left and then when Cliff Burton died and they became huge, but something was missing because there's not like a gigantic personality left in the band. It's like
Mm-hmm.
just about the music after
Yeah.
that point because those guys were kind of more theatrical and more interesting. Uh, so yeah, I loved the Some Kind of Monster
Amazing.
doc, and I loved the even less eventful year and a half in the life of Metallica
That's
one
fun.
about
That's fun.
recording the Black Album,
Mm-hmm. That's fun. I did
where all
not
those
watch
guys
the
are like, Metallica saved my life. I was so
exactly. I did
angry
not.
before.
Yeah, yeah. I was so angry at, now I'm a welder. you know, and it's just like that's those guys. It's like, no, and it's like a true thing. It's like so you could tell some of these guys were like, I was like blacking out every night and couldn't get anything together. Then, and Justice for All came out, and now I'm, this but I love I did not watch the 2 hour making of Death Magnetic. I didn't feel that was important
No,
to
there's lots of everything takes so much time with this. I didn't get I didn't get all the way through the last album, which sounded identical to Death
Yeah.
Magnetic and the other one.
Mhm.
And I was like, they're gonna want to hear what I have to say about Lulu. So I turned Lulu on for
Awful.
30 seconds and turned
It's
it right the
awful.
hell off.
Yeah,
And it's not awful because of Metallica, it's awful because of him.
I know.
Because of Lou Reed.
I love him. I love
I mean,
him.
I
He
do too,
covered-
but when he's old, it's awful. Like
Yeah, the
it's just
hepatitis.
NPR
Yeah,
garbage.
and it's NPR with hepatitis. It's really rough. Like,
And it's like built
yeah.
into Lulu that like you can be a kind of first level contrarian and claim that it's great. You can just decide that it's good if you want. Like, and sure, live in that world where it's good, but it's not. It's awful.
It's so bad, and they were so nice for doing that.
I
Like,
think I've
Metallica.
listened to it all the way through like twice before because I believe that I actually physically ripped the CD in a CD drive in like 2011, probably when the last, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna develop a contrarian take on this that it's good, and it's miserable.
It's really.
It's always
really
hard to
bad.
force albums that you want to be good that aren't. Yeah, I've fallen for that before. And then after 2 or 3 tries, you're just like, nah, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah.
All the
Speaking
other
of which,
ones I love.
It's I will say I was kind of I hadn't
Actually, no, I don't
listened to
love
them.
Load and Reload, but all the other ones,
Yeah, I don't love those.
I love
but there's-
Mama Said, but
Yeah, there's more on those albums than I remember. Like I was like, oh, okay. There's like maybe it's just because we're so starved for rock now that I was like, no,
Mhm.
this is good because it's heavy and fun and it's like Mission Impossible 2 throwing the exploding sunglasses music like in a off of a cliff.
it's the only one besides Lulu. I'm like referring to it. It's a double album basically released a year apart. Like
For sure.
they were doing a Use Your Illusion thing. So like Load is the only one that made me embarrassed listening to it. Like it gives me like it's okay. It's not that bad, but it has a cringe-inducing sound
Where's
to
your
it where
crown,
where they're
King?
not
Nothing.
giving you what you want, and it sounds like they're trying to slot themselves into something else. But I love Mama Said.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
For sure. Sai, you did not grow up a Metallica fan. I know this about you. What this task assigned to us? Where did you start? Where did you end?
Yeah. Well, I was like a snob growing up, a classicist,
Sure. You
boomer
play guitar.
rock
You play guitar.
and shit. Yeah. And then so I always kind of just panned. And I was also scared of like we went to middle school together and I was always just scared of like the Korn new metal stuff and all this, all the kids
Scared
that
of
were
Glenn
into that. I
Rocky
was
in a
like,
camouflage jacket with a Metallica patch. Scariest.
dude, I remember that jacket. I remember the jacket.
was sick, yeah.
It showed up in high school the first couple of years too. It was high school.
I wore it embarrassingly long because I didn't hit
Yeah.
puberty until like 16, so I could still fit into like the 12.
I would be wearing that today.
It was a good look.
I had
It was
one, I
it was
could still fit
no
into it.
jacket. It was legit a good look. It was
You know
like
the Army surplus store I got it from.
For- yeah,
The
for
Stephen
sure.
Creek- Stephen
Well, you know, like
Yeah.
I have like kind of I was sort of feeling old a few years ago. My wardrobe has always been nothing but Black Sabbath t-shirts. And then I was like, maybe I'm too old now to just wear band t-shirts all the time. And so
Yeah.
I kind of just didn't do it for like 5 years. And then because of this episode, I got on Amazon and just straight down the line ordered like 3 Metallica
yeah.
shirts and 3 Black Sabbath
Yeah.
shirts. The thing about metal shirts is the cheaper and faker manufactured they are, the better they are.
Yep.
So if you have some real vintage piece of shit like thing that's $250, that's lamer than just ordering one on Amazon.
Yeah,
Or
like,
getting one at
100%.
Walmart that's like $8.
My
Yeah,
cousin,
Walmart, for sure.
my cousin had had like this straight up like iron on decal peace sells Megadeth shirt, and it
Yeah.
looked
Oh my-
so stupid. It was
I had an
but-
$8 Walmart Metallica shirt that just had the logo that I wore like every other day for 3 years.
Yep. I had
Yeah.
this. I flexed with the Saint Anger tour shirt with the dates on the back.
And I got more
Hell yeah.
compliments on it than anything item of clothing I've ever spent money on.
Oh,
Yeah.
incredible! But
No,
but you, so
Yeah.
you, I knew how you were. You're like, it's like it's just fat. It ain't real wrestling, you know, like
Yeah,
South
yeah,
Park.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I know how you are. But
Well,
like,
I want
did
to talk
you
about the
dive
shirts
in?
a little more, and then I'll
Okay,
get back
yeah,
to that
yeah, sure.
because you guys got me thinking. First of all, I have a couple of Led Zeppelin tie-dye tees
Hell yeah!
on my
Nice.
Amazon cart that no, I don't have. They're in my Amazon
Oh,
cart
beta.
for like
Buy
a year.
it.
I need
Buy
to
it.
go for it. Yeah, they look so sick and they're cheap as fuck. I don't know why I haven't. But and the other thing, Jack, I know you've been watching, or maybe not so much more lately, but Gilmore Girls, and
Mhm.
we always have that on the house in the fall just as like background. And the episode just came on the other day where Luke is mad at his nephew Jess for wearing the Metallica shirt in the restaurant as he's like serving customers. And I like that that's the band they use to like, no, absolutely no
Oh my
Metallica
God.
shirts in the
Yeah,
fucking restaurant.
there's not a second of that
Yeah.
show where they're not showing off how vast their cultural knowledge
It's
is.
so
Every single
they're so
second has to be a
tryhard.
reference. It's
It's
so
so
it's so like, I bet y'all have never watched a TV show written by
Yeah.
smart people before that
It's
know
so
things.
fucking funny. No, you literally just cut to the whole heart of that show over just now. Also, I like how not to make this a Gilmore Girls thing, but I like how Rory's read all of the Russian novelists and she's like 16 in high school.
Of course,
It's like,
of course.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, this one's my favorite. It's like
Well,
that
but there are some like
Yeah.
unusual takes that are written for her. Like she's like
she's
Ayn
pro
Rand,
Rand. She likes Ayn Rand. Yeah, I was
which
gonna
would
say.
never happen now. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, she's like give her a shot. You know, yeah, I like that. I like that part.
Like I'm 40 and I haven't had time to read all this shit, and I like
know.
don't go outside. And this 15-year-old is just, I guess they didn't have social
crushed.
media then, so
Yeah.
that's when she read Proust.
You have to keep her. Yeah, she had to be kept inside from the scary Metallica guys. So,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. No, but I actually, I dabbled a little bit and in Metallica, nothing crazy. And then I remember I read like a few when blogs were big when I was like 13, 14, 15 in the early blog world. And there was this random like lifestyle personal development dude who grew up in Minnesota, and he had this story that he told about how he got in a car crash in when he was younger in Minnesota and had to walk in the winter, and his like they almost had to amputate his feet. And he said he was like in a real dark place in his life, and he was listening to Kill 'Em All in the car when it happened. And he said that I would just listen to Kill 'Em All on repeat. And so I kind of was like, oh, I want to check that out. And I listened to that and I was like, this is actually kind of tight. And so that's what got me into it. And then uh, as I got older, I saw like those Reddit soy face videos of Robert Trujillo doing flamenco guitar. And everyone's like,
gosh.
"Whoa, dude, he can play flamenco!" And I like flamenco, so I was like, "This is tight." So it was always like in the orbit of me getting into them. But I think "Ride the Lightning" is my favorite Metallica album.
I agree.
It's
I
just
agree.
yeah,
The first two are the best.
for sure. Yeah,
Ride the Lightning is like it is so good. It's just
Yeah.
like because that's the one where they piss off Dave Mustaine the most because they're just like you're not even near us anymore, and we're gonna take all the riffs and make cool songs that you can't sing.
Yeah.
Like because
Mhm.
James Hetfield just sings the way people want to hear people sing, and
yeah.
Dave Mustaine is literally I swear to God, I looked this up the other day because I went down the Dave Mustaine YouTube short rabbit hole where he's like 64 and he's like, yeah, and I did my chords like this, man. And he goes, and that other band that I used to be in, what's their name again? I don't know. And you're just like, dude, what the fuck?
He's so petty, dude. It's
But
good.
I love it though. He's a very
I love it
essential
too. I
part.
find it refreshing that
It's hilarious.
he's not like just like a paid off ex-wife that's
Yeah.
quiet about them. I like that he's really trashy and loud, and
Yeah,
that he
dude.
like essentially fired from the band for having too strong a personality and being
And
too
being
drunk.
Yeah, for Metallica, being too drunk for Metallica.
Too drunk for Metallica.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was exciting when he was in there for
Yeah.
sure.
He
Yeah.
was but he anyways he's coming out with a new Megadeth album, and there's a track. It's "Ride the Lightning" is on there. He's doing the song "Ride the Lightning" is on the new Megadeth
Insane.
album. 40 years later. 40 years later, it's like,
Nice. I mean,
I'm letting
why not?
letting
Nobody
Hughes
cares
be-
about any of this shit anymore. And if
I
rock
know.
music doesn't exist anymore, why
No,
not?
yeah, no, like because Dave Mustaine, it's funny. He acts like he doesn't have a career. Like he's what's funny about it is he pretends like he's like been barred from every aspect of like making money, but he can like sell out those like Wicker Man pagan festivals like any day of the
Yes.
week. And he can, and Mexican people with like Rob Trujillo guys, like literally Mexican guys with ponytails will all go to Megadeth shows.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and like, but it's like, dude, you have, but I think both his energy and Metallica's kind of like, yeah, Dave's great. Yeah, it just didn't work out. But you can tell Dave is a big part of like, we have to make this awesome fucking album because we want to piss Dave off. Like that had made both of their careers excellent. And I don't think either of those would have, I don't think either people's career would have been good enough. I mean, you think of the time like James Hetfield probably almost killed himself drinking how many times? I mean, it must have been really bad. He had to go to rehab for like 6 months during some kind of monster. So, and he probably, there might be certain times where you're going like, Dave Mustaine would love this right now. Let me shape up, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, James Hetfield is a drunk because he was shy and didn't like being a front man. So he had to drink in order to enjoy it, which, you know, makes total sense. But Dave Mustaine liked being the front man. I saw in probably like 2014, 2015, I saw Megadeth and Iron Maiden together.
Sick.
And that kind of show is like, yeah, you go to that kind of show and there's like still ladies with like Farrah Fawcett hair, like just completely, they just come out for things like that.
Yeah. I wonder how many like Reddit trannies were there at the, like, not at the time, they were like guys at the time, because metal is big in the like truned out like long hair. They already
Like
have
real
long
metal,
hair.
not just the fake black metal stuff. It's just imagery. I know trannies like that.
Yeah,
and
that's true. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like the Finland like
I don't think they like regular, like, you know, Judas Priest,
because it's like noise.
Metallica, like regular musicianship metal. They just like black metal because that's like bad on purpose, and it's all just about the image of being like inversion of good and evil, and it's just that stupid typeface. That's the most like ran through area of metal culture I can think of, and it became very like mainstreamed in the early 2010s when they started putting out like H&M shirts with the black metal typeface. I never want to see any of that ever again. There's just not much to like. I got through all of that in probably like 2009 to 2011, and the rewards are like pretty low. You can cruise through that pretty fast.
Oh yeah, you're right, because like that was always my problem, because I was always like Black Sabbath and Metallica fan, which is kind of like baby's first band if you're talking to like a capital M metalhead, right? They're always just like, oh, actually we like this band with like 7 umlauts in the name, and the guy ate the engineer. They ate Bjorn, the engineer. They killed him. They cooked him and ate him. Anyways, they're campaigning for Kamala Harris tomorrow, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You're like, what the
It's
fuck?
dirtbag left. Bathory is dirtbag left stuff where,
or like the Anthony Fantano, like I gave this band a great review, and then all your fans turn on you because they had said some naughty things or something, and then you have to disown them. Like that whole weird, I need my black metal to be perfect, and you know they all have to be really good people or something. Yeah, it's very tiresome.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, all the like real good metal is still there, and you know, just kind of permanently. And I don't think trannies are too into Black Sabbath or whatever.
No, I don't think so at all. But yeah, Metallica kind of existed as a band early 80s. It's always kind of shocking how early it is to me. I don't know if it is to you guys, but I'm always like, damn, 1983. Like I always think it started in like 87. You know, and it just in my head, like I think Kill 'Em All is like 1987 in my head. It's not. They're like 4 albums deep, 3 albums deep by that time. But they were really, it's kind of similar in the way of Black Sabbath. Like, holy shit, you guys were this loud in like 1969, like, or 1970. You were just like, this must have terrified people. And you hear, like, you see James Hetfield, who I think ended up becoming a very like handsome man, is very like, had like odd acne and like hair that didn't work when he, in the Kill 'Em All era. Like he looked really odd and stuff. And they were just really off-putting, and they wanted to be anti-establishment, anti this and that, while eventually just growing out of that and realizing, actually, I'd love to just, be able to take 5 years off at a time and go hunting elk, and make that kind of money, the anywhere I roam, enter Sandman money. But they start as this kind of response to hair metal, or where hair metal's becoming popular at that time.
And it was like not that conscious, but it's just like how they were. I mean, the innovation of Metallica was that they were ugly and looked bad, and that it was all about the music. But initially, they did dress like hair metal, like for a minute, for like that. And those are like my favorite early photo shoots, where they're kind of wearing like the bullet belt and some tights and like a leopard crop top, just for a minute, and then they kind of realized that their innovation was just looking like regular, not very attractive guys. James Hetfield's very attractive to me, but that for like the front man of something, he's weird. He's weird looking. But yeah, that was mind blowing at the time, that it was not Motley Crue, it was not hair metal, it was not transvestism. And it was not the Ronnie James Dio like dragon chasing medieval lyrics or like operatic. It was slimmed down with the quote like ethos of punk, and made faster and more aggressive, and just didn't have all of the trappings, and like the polar opposite of Motley Crue, which was entirely about image. They do have some good songs, underrated songs, but that was entirely about image and entirely about how they looked, and them like being misbehaving bad boys and all of that. And then Metallica, it's like, whoa, they're just like boring and regular, but the music is so heavy and so sick.
Yeah.
I think it's nice that Metallica isn't devilish. Like, I like that there's like one big band in this group that didn't just throw more devil,
Yeah.
Because you can only go so far with devil. It's like Slayer had reached peak devil by like 1988, and then what do you do after that? So not everybody. I think that's why they became the biggest band in the world, because I think too much devil kind of puts people off past a certain age.
They're an oddly wholesome band,
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they really are. It's great.
Yeah, they like, you feel like James Hetfield's like drunkenness is like really private. Like, it was really bad, but you don't hear about like James Hetfield showed up at the club and like threw up all over this girl and stuff. Like, you don't hear those stories, but it was.
But what's the unnamed other addictions? That's what I want. I was like, what is he addicted to? Gooning or something? Like, it sounds like really shameful, because they're all like, he was taken to this remote John Carpenter's The Thing rehab facility where no one could reach him for 6 months for alcoholism and unnamed addictions. Like, what? That sounds like
he can't work. And he can't
that
work.
sounds like something you can't tell people.
And he can only work from 12 to 4. That's my favorite.
I hate when he comes back and he's like newly replenished with
he just
all
has glasses on. All he has is glasses on.
He has glasses on, and he's using all the like therapy speak from freshly AA'd people, where they're like, wow, I really have everything figured out now, and I just feel like this communication we're having is just so much more positive, and like I'm really hearing you. I'm like, oh god, I like it so much more when he's just like angry and like too dumb to articulate what he's mad about before the 6 months of therapy.
Yeah,
and he doesn't trust the therapy. He's like, I love that whole documentary. He's like, so they're like, line reading their various like payments for their crew. Is like, so we pay him $40,000 a year to do this. Are we gonna do
40,000 a month?
40,000 a month or whatever. Yeah, crazy.
Incredible. Phil, the therapist, who's like, how long can I keep this going? How long can I realize that Lars Ulrich is kind of a like just a total actually guy, and James Hetfield is like a very sensitive, kind of like sensitive control guy. The band, it clearly functions off them two doing this, and if I keep this therapy going up, the album probably never comes out, but I can get like a year's worth of however much money, and one thing I before we get too far into their catalog is I love that they're California guys.
Mhm.
Kirk Hammett is the most San Francisco Filipino guy of all time. With his voice like that is really funny. It always catches me off guard. His weird like Michael Jackson voice that he has. And then Lars Ulrich had like I feel like his dad was like he's like Swedish or something, and his dad or Danish.
Danish.
His dad was a like legitimately was in like Wimbledon and like the U.S. Open tennis and stuff, and Lars is definitely one of those like striver kids that was always like gonna be a tennis player, but he just wasn't good as dad. So he was like, I have to do like something that dad thinks is cool. And his dad was very much a into like hanging out with like Deep Purple.
Yeah,
I feel like
bohemian, weird,
Michelle
like
Welbeck, naked parents in the house.
bearded
yeah.
celebrity. Yeah, Welbeck parents,
Yeah.
Euro celebrity person, and people always like love to shit on the fact that Lars Ulrich was rich, but you can tell that he's a big reason that Metallica became what they became because he was the one with the business mind, and he's also the one with the money. I mean, if your band has one person with money, you're going to
Yep.
be a lot more
Yeah.
successful than like four guys with no money. Um, so he's a pretty repulsive figure, but you can completely see how he's the one like steering the ship. And because
Mhm.
there has to be that person who's like not afraid to be unlikable. It's just like that kind of like Danish men are like uniquely unattractive to me, like the Lars von Trier, like all that pale,
Yeah.
uncircumcised,
Yeah.
like bicycle,
Robert
like
Eggers, Willem Dafoe.
ooh,
Like, yeah.
just like really just an area of very unattractive men to me.
Yeah. His dad, who I will admit is really funny when they start playing the stupid like cave chanting intro that they do in some kind of monster. And his dad goes, I don't think this is going to work. This is not good. This is bad. And
Yeah,
it is like, you're just like, yeah,
yeah,
this is bad. And they were just like, because you can tell they don't this. I know we're way far ahead here, but you can tell they don't know what album to make. They're like, we need to make an album with Bob Rock. They're like, that's what we need to do, but we don't know what to do. And Bob Rock obviously wanted a new metal album to be made out of this because he's Bob. For anyone who doesn't know Bob Rock, I always thought that name was like his name was supposed to be like Bob like Rockstein or something, like just like record exec guy, but it's literally Robert Rock is his name, and he's just a Canadian guy. And he did like Slippery When Wet for Bon Jovi. I think he did Dr. Feelgood. So like bands came to him for like a hit album, and he found Metallica, or came to Metallica in 1989 or whatever after Injustice for All. Was like, you guys want to make a little money because
yeah.
you guys can
It's the hit
die.
maker.
You can die in like the Megadeth ghetto. You know what I mean? Of like, everyone respects you, man. Or we can do that. But that's why I laughed when Lars's dad at least does come in, and he, like I said, he looks like Willem Dafoe, like in a Robert Eggers movie,
Yeah.
like in there. But let's take it all the way back. Like I said, I love what's his Cliff Burton, rest in peace. He was from Castro Valley, California, East Bay. 510 guy. That's pretty sick, literally based.
And James
But
Hetfield's from Downey, which I love Downey. Everybody, like whenever I go visit LA, I like drive over there, and everybody who lives there is like, why are you going to Downey? Like, because of the Carpenters. Like the Carpenters are from Downey, and there are these apartment complexes that Karen and Richard Carpenter owned that say like close to you, and it's all Mexicans now, but it's like a adorable little town. And
literal
yeah,
carpenters,
James Hetfield is a
Mexican
Christian
carpenters.
Scientist from Downey, California.
Yeah. The Mexican carpenters took over
Mhm.
but the Downey, California. So you have like this LA to San Francisco thing with Kirk Hammett. They still will like show up at like Bay Area sporting events and just go like this in the stands and be like, yeah. And they're like, that's Metallica. The San Jose Sharks come out to Seek and Destroy the hockey. They come out of a big shark head and skate under the thing, and Seek and Destroy is playing. It works every time in a stadium setting.
Sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. So but Kill 'Em All. Let's start there. Like I said, Dave Mustaine. I still could never figure out when he actually got kicked out of the band.
It was
Did he
like
get?
right. It was a very inconvenient time
Yeah,
for him because it was right before they were about to record the first album, and
right.
He's credited with like 4 songs on that. So it was one of those pivotal decisions that you have to make as a business person when you're
Hmm.
steering the ship. So that was kind of the first big casting change for them. But the there's so much like misinformation or like misconceptions about Metallica
Yeah.
that might just be I'm familiar with them because I'm 38 years old and maybe no one is
Hmm.
aware of this ambiance at all anymore. But like people used to be really like hysterical about supposed vast betrayals and changes from album to album and like really
Yeah.
opinionated and really just kind of like music fan,
Yeah. Yeah.
super serious, kind of like they used to always say that like the Black Album was a giant betrayal because it's,
I know.
poppy. They sold out. And then they would say Load was a giant betrayal because they turned gay and they got the Anton Corbin makeover and were wearing eyeliner and had semen on the cover. It's gay. And just like these constant, like overstated, hysterical opinions. And then what overshadows everything else is, of course, the Napster lawsuit,
Yeah.
which everyone listening to this should know that they were proven correct because the
Correct.
music industry ended. So, because of file
Hmm.
sharing and because there's no longer a way to make music profitable besides starting a beauty brand and touring. So,
Yeah.
everything is
Yeah.
just for funsies now, selling merch, but people still have this leftist communist idea that it's immoral to charge for your work, and
Hmm.
they get very emotional about it. um to this day, they people think they're entitled to all media for free, and it's like
Yeah.
that's a nice idea when you're 14 and like don't have a job and don't have money, but if you're looking at it truthfully, you can see that the evidence arrived that Metallica were right, and they were held up always. I mean, that really like ruined their reputation forever, basically, because then the image of Metallica, the public image of Metallica, was decadent, snooty, litigious millionaires who
South Park episode,
South
right?
Park,
Really.
Really, really
Yeah.
did
who
them dirty.
were, just shitting on poor people, and that it's complete nonsense. Like, we all know how insanely difficult it is to get people to pay $5 for
Yeah.
something that you put a lot of work into.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard, but everyone still has this communist conception that they're just entitled to all of your work and whatever, you just have to have some other job. And yeah, so that the Napster thing overshadows to this day everything else, and you are kind of like fighting through that image of them as having been so successful when you could be that successful in the music industry, that it's somehow wrong that they became rich from it.
Yeah.
It
No,
seemed like a principled stance too, right? Like
Yeah.
they were making money. They were already rich. They really just did want people there to be an artistic exchange, like
And by the
Prince,
way,
like
what
Prince.
people
Yeah.
said at the time, who were like, they're overreacting. This is crazy. It's so cringe that all these people are mad that their stuff is being put on the internet for free. Everyone would say that, of course, this is not going to affect album sales. This is not going to affect that
yep.
industry at all because everyone will also buy CDs. Guess what? It ended 5 years later.
My
Everything ended
parents,
5 years later because nobody buys a CD except as a collector's fetish object, not
even,
something that
yeah,
like anyone actually uses out of necessity.
even my parents, like who grew up in the buy the album from the store era, very much spent their like probably last dollars at the time, like on buying, this album and stuff. When the Kazaa Bilbo Baggins ring temptation happened, when Kazaa came out, they were like, Glenn, get to work. Put this on my MP3. I don't even know what we had. Make a CD. Like
Mhm.
make a CD out of these. They would write a list of the songs when I'd be home for the summer, and they'd be like, put this CD together. Like it's a deck. That's the decadence, is having that available to you. And it's tough to put. It's there. The slippery slope was 100% real. And I will say that's why I actually always you know, I won't say it's a received opinion because I think it's ultimately correct, but like you think Lars Ulrich is like this like evil kind of like almost Redditor kind of like well actually guy of the band, but you're like it kind of had to be him, and what he was just wasn't afraid of. Like he's like, well, I'm already viewed as this, so I'll be the one that fights this
Oh,
shit.
he's
Because
never cared what anyone thought of him.
yeah, which I respect.
Yeah,
I
which is
do respect.
good.
I do respect. I mean, I mean, Lars didn't even really know how to play drums that well when they started the band. He, like you said, he was the friend with money, and he was the friend with the dad who hung out with like Deep Purple and stuff, and you know all these other kind of like early British metal bands or some hard rock bands. And he was like, okay, but I'll learn, and he learned. You know what I mean? All musicians can say whatever they will about how good or bad Lars actually is at drumming. Sounds cool to me. When I put on in my 2015 Honda Accord going 37 into 35, listening to fucking One, you know, that part of One, when you're like, yeah, this rules. This is incredible. And you should pay for this. And I'm paying a subscription on Apple Music, but I had these CDs. I went out and bought them well after, because I bought like their shittiest album, Metallica. And I was like, I got to get all of these albums. The covers are cool and everything. And you know, unfortunately with that Napster case, you have the like that hit like right during the peak of like Gen X becoming like sentient adults, you know, or not becoming that, but like the core of Gen X, people who consumerism, you know, and like all of that stuff. Like, yeah,
mindset.
exactly. Like, so it was really easy for them to go, Napster is free, man. And it's this free exchange of information, man. And again, like I used all that stuff. I shouldn't have been allowed to.
Yeah. You shouldn't have been allowed to. And it's funny that all the people that still believe that all media should be free and everyone should have access to everything. Like now that the internet is actually censored and we've seen how they can just take anything off and change it
Yes.
immediately. Like now that like Pornhub and XTube or whatever, thanks to our wonderful conservatard friends, uh those are just like inaccessible on my phone now. Like they can just do that,
Oh,
just
that's right.
pull
You're
the
in
plug.
Texas. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm in
that's right.
Texas, so I'm being protected by conservatards from porn.
And you've stopped jacking off because of it,
Yeah,
of
I've
course.
stopped and
Yeah.
I've turned the whatever the horse worms of that were causing my homosexuality have
Oh, yeah.
ejected.
Hmm.
Who said that? That like
Yeah. Jackson, no fap now.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the worm infestation that causes
Yeah.
homosexuality, but that's
Hmm.
gone now thanks to the
Ivermectin.
conservatards.
Yeah.
But now that we've seen how things can actually be just disappeared in an
Yeah.
instant, and the
Sure.
internet's not this like libertarian free information
Yeah.
place anymore. It's so funny that people still hold on to the communist view. And guess what? It comes from never creating anything. So if you're
Yeah.
just a consumer and you've never created anything or never wanted um, to try to make a career from creating anything, then you can safely have imperious opinions about how other people's work should be free.
Yeah.
But the second you do it and you see how hard it is, and you
Hmm.
think, wow, I have to do all of this just basically for free, and then everything's like a little like milk bone, like dog
Yeah.
treat favor that's thrown to me for all of this work
Yeah.
that I'm doing that people are enjoying.
And also, I think there's a lot of people that think giving something away for free insulates you from criticism, which is not true. People will still have their same opinion about you. They will still have, like, so let's say Metallica's music's all free. Now, I'm going to use their song as an example. The way they found out about illegal streaming was that I Disappear, which was a song, it ended up being on the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack. It's kind of hokey. It's very of the time, kind of like, you know, wow, 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 like just very like late 2000 or early 2000s rock kind of late 90s kind of hard rock, like desert sand rock, you know, and they were like, dude, this hasn't left our studio yet. Like somebody betrayed us. And guess what? A bunch of people downloaded it and then said, Metallica sold out. It's like, you stole the song. Like, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's this idea, like you didn't, like, it's not even like, I know there's people that give their stuff away because they actually don't think it's worth something. And they think they think they have to be better than they are because they charge for it. When you realize like some of the worst food you've ever had in your life, you paid for.
Mhm.
So actually monetize the thing that you find good in your life. Like, not everything, you got to pick and choose. I get that. Like there's an art to it, especially now. You have to really decide what's what. But to be honest, like I just listening to that and listening to like Lars talk about it, I was just like, man, completely vindicated. Completely.
Completely vindicated, and no one ever says that. Like, if you want to see what people actually think of this, tweet something saying that they were right, and look at the reactions, because
Right.
people chimp the fuck
Yeah.
out about it. Everybody is, it's just like the Ayn Rand communism of the hordes just immediately comes to get you. It's one of those things that people get so mad about, and yet they will have the same, in the same breath, they will be like, why is culture so gray?
Yeah.
Why is everything so cheap? Why are movies so bad? Because there's not financial incentive to do anything. Movies
Yeah.
don't actually make money. It's this weird rigged thing where they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
make money off popcorns and like theater bookings. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Or it's like a Netflix arbitrage scam,
yeah,
it's
or
like
it's all
just
just
try, yeah.
money
Mhm.
laundering for like Mexican cartel people, which it seems like most of the content that it feels like a lot of the Walking Dead stuff is like, how is this still, is AMC just like a giant Mexican money laundering thing? Because these big budget shows keep coming out that no one's watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, the product itself is not what's making money.
Right, right. So Kill 'Em All. Let's talk
Mhm.
about it. I
Sick.
love this album. It holds up. I mean, the album cover rules. I mean, you look at the album cover. The songs sound like the album cover. It's very much like
Which is a
look.
hammer
Yeah,
with blood
yeah.
bursting out.
The first song, Hit the Lights. Fuck, when the chorus comes in, it just makes me want to fuck. Okay, when like when rap comes, there's a big debate in the rap community of like, do these songs about killing people make you want to kill people? Like, do they make the crime stats go up? I'm not trying to make this debate right now. I just mean like, I kind of understood like 5% of that. I was like, hey, I might go 45 in this 35, not 37.
Hmm.
Like I'm listening to Hit the Lights. I'm listening to The Four Horsemen, which is another incredible song. Which Dave Mustaine later at the like 2 years later basically made into Mechanics because that was his riff. Which is that song's about like having sex at a gas station, I think.
Hmm.
Mechanics, and then but Metallica, these songs are all incredible. I mean, Seek and Destroy being like the one that probably has the longest lasting effect that everyone's heard. They all have this like when you're looking at the song and you feel like you've heard the and this is common for basically the first four Metallica albums and some of the later ones as well, where you're looking and you're like, okay, I've listened to 2 minutes and 45 seconds of just an incredible song. How is there 3 more minutes though? And it's not going to just be repetitive. It's like they completely changed. It's like it has this kind of like big like musical like guy in the Victorian periods, like writing something, and you're just like, oh, and this is my new arrangement for this song, like that part in Seek and Destroy where it's just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you're just like, what the fuck? Like I would have never put that there. And you'll
No,
see like
the
you go on YouTube and you'll see those guys who were like the guys that will listen to Metallica for the first time and they're like music teachers and they'll go, oh, F sharp to G7. And they'll do that like while the songs are happening and they're fucking floored by it. They're like, wait, like Fade to Black, like on Ride the Light. They're like, wait, you don't do that. Like that's not what I didn't feel like that's what I signed up for. Right. Like, when I
And
listened
you
to
never remember what all happens, no
yeah,
matter how
exactly.
many times you listen to the songs. Like, I kept finding myself like
Yeah,
clicking on the screen and seeing like how far in the song I was, especially
exactly.
with those later albums where all the songs are like 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
no matter how many times I hear these Metallica songs, it's like a really compelling movie that you can't remember the sequence of
Yeah.
events, even though you've seen it 10 times.
Right, right.
You know what? But it's weird. It's the song structure is super unique to the band. You know what the visual I kept getting when I was listening to all this is, you ever play Star Fox on old
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation? It's kind of like,
N64, N64
yeah,
actually.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, where it's, it's like you're on, what's that called when you're on the video games, when you're on a single track and you're like
Yeah.
everything's moving
On
past you, but you
rails,
never
like
move. That's like a Metallica song. It's all like you're just, oh, here are the blue rings on this side, and then it's like a little video game level for
yeah,
each
you're
one.
like
It's
in a
super cool.
tube.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like in
you're
a
gonna do,
thick,
yeah,
heavy tube. And like
yeah,
with Metallica, like since they're not scandalous celebrities behind it, there's not all that much like juicy gossip or anything to
yeah,
talk
Yeah.
about. Like, but the TLDR with Metallica is just like the albums are all good and heavy and sick and
Yeah.
awesome and
And they don't get
like
old. Like
they don't get old
and
ever. You
what
can listen to them over and over and over.
Well, and it was intimidating for this episode because I was like, wait, I've listened to, the core, the ones that everyone wants you to talk about. I listened and I had prior experience with these albums. I owned all of them on CD. I loved them. But I was like, I still don't feel prepared because I was like, something new pops out to me all the time. And like, I watched the one that everyone tells you to watch, right? Is Live at Seattle in 1989, which is worth that. Everyone's correct about that. That is an incredible live performance. Those songs, there's certain songs where I'm like, oh, on the albums, I didn't think those were like the best song. Then I go back to the albums that the songs are on. Some of them, like The Thing That Should Not Be or something, which I do like, but that became one of my favorite songs of Metallica. Where I was like, whoa, it's something new every time, and I think they kind of get a reputation from like capital M metalheads that are like that it's nothing, that it's all just kind of like, actually this is all really easy, you could just pick up a guitar and play this.
No,
It's nothing. Actually, James have that's all it is.
no,
Like, no,
because
it's actually incredible.
the other bands of the time sound like what it would sound like if you just picked up an instrument and like were fairly good at it. Like you would just sound like at best Motley Crue. Like you wouldn't sound like this.
Right.
And yeah, I in my like discography listened through. I really just wanted to listen to Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning over and over again, and it was like hard to make myself go past that because
My
I would
God.
just say the first two are the best because the sense of newness and the lightness and the sense of fun and speed and also that really kind of gory or mid 80s still kind of scary metal image that they had is there. And then Master of Puppets and Justice for All and Black Album, it's already this more intellectual project. Like they're all good, but when I was first getting into Metallica, they would always say Master of Puppets was the best one. And so I think that was the first one that I bought on CD. And then now listening to them all again, I'm like, yeah, it's great, but it has that self-seriousness because they were at that point mired in these like scene politics of like wanting to disavow thrash and all this stuff that just like doesn't matter
Don't give a
now.
shit
Like
about
nobody
metal.
cares, but seemed super important to rock
Yeah.
critics and to musicians of like at the time of like what little scene label they were given. And so
Yeah.
with Master Puppets and Justice for All, they're doing all this like more like highbrow, serious, operatic Spanish guitar type
Yeah.
stuff. But the first two are really the most like pure,
Yeah.
just racing forward on speed awesomeness that
Yeah.
you don't have any of the kind of bloated sadness that they would later have.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. Just kill them all. I mean, just a few more things about it. It's so, I mean, they break up the album with like a Cliff Burton solo, like their worship of Cliff Burton, like in the band. And it's like, you can say it's, because he was the one that died, so everyone worshiped him. I mean, they gave this guy just a bass solo on the album. They're like, here you go. And that, like, a lot of times that just sounds like something you're messing around with in the studio, but they had this freedom at that time to just kind of like, well, nobody listens to metal, so like, go ahead. And surely that's what like that stuff like lives on forever. And like Jump in the Fire. I mean, the four horsemen to me is just like, that's like one of the like, if you were to say like, if I was to show somebody like try to like show somebody who like doesn't like anything with a like the connotation of metal or anything, I would just show them that. I'd be like, it's impossible not to like your heart rate not to increase a little bit.
Yeah, and just feel good and feel like jumping around, and
I was
especially
doing yard
now,
work, dude. Yeah, doing yard work. I
yeah,
loved it.
doing yard work, I was just like,
Mhm.
it just put me like in the zone. It puts you in such a wonderful zone, and like the what you were talking about with like, does rap music cause you to want to murder people? Like, heavy metal when it was still like an alive and functioning genre provided this perfect outlet for
Yeah.
predominantly white male
Yep.
aggression that was healthy, and like young men don't have any kind of
Hmm.
artistic outlet for anger and like release. Like
Yeah.
everything, all of their media is this, especially like the current last 15 years of rap that's like kind of like sensitive and about pills and
Yeah.
just like,
Tiny desk concert rap. Yeah.
like that kind of shit. Like that doesn't get out aggression. That's like just causes you to be tune out and become more angry and weird.
Yeah. It's like
But
that jeans, like the music from that jeans store in the Cursed, in the Curse. That's
yeah,
literally, yeah, yeah. I know
yeah,
exactly what you're
yeah. It's
talking about.
all like I don't listen to that type of music. I just call it like the weekends type. It's all
Yeah.
just kind of like a high voice, sort of
Underwater.
female-ish,
Yeah.
like underwater, pilly,
Hmm.
kind of like sort of artistic black guy who's not like violent.
Septum Ring. Yeah.
Yes, septum ring. But yeah, heavy metal had a place. It was an outlet, it was a release valve for young white men to get out their aggression and feel great. And also become really like technically adept musicians doing really complicated things. But the role that Cliff Burton played in the band was he was like this hippie guy.
Yep.
He was smarter than the rest of them, and he had eclectic tastes. So the rest of them were just very serious about only listening to one type of music in that way that you are when you're young before someone with who knows about everything with genuinely
Yeah.
eclectic taste comes along and you're like, wow, you can just like everything.
Yeah.
It takes someone to show that to you. And so Cliff Burton was like wearing bell bottoms, and he had like the Black Sabbath long part in the middle hair, and this was
Yeah.
not what
Yeah.
anyone was doing at that time. And it was like really like we were just talking about on our last episode, Quadrophenia, how their
Yeah.
like outfits, their scene outfits are so important and those divisions. So it was really wild that this guy was a metal musician who wore bell bottoms and had the kind of dated Black Sabbath hair, and also listened to like Kate Bush and different kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. And he was the one who like let the other ones know that they could experiment and try different things. So he's responsible for the whole like Ennio Morricone, trope that would never have occurred to them without him. He was like the figurehead who was
Yeah.
just had that much more imagination than they did.
Right. Yeah. Coming out to the Good and the Bad and the Ugly Ennio Morricone song, which I think they still do. If I'm
Mhm.
not mistaken. Yeah, like that's yeah, no, I completely agree. It always seems to be the bass player in a lot of bands too, because like bass is such a I don't know, it's you might know what I'm like, like bass players, they know about like the black guy bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're in
Yeah.
like a
Or like John Paul
like
Jones and Zeppelin, the quiet
right.
guy that like knows more than
Yeah. And they pick up the bass,
Yeah.
like, or Sting, like he picks up the bass because that's what like the band needs,
Yeah.
like, or Paul McCartney, you know what I mean? Like, no,
Mhm.
picks up the bass because, like, well, everybody else plays this instrument. I play them all kind of thing. I don't know if that's Cliff Burton, but it just, that's the, but yeah, I mean,
And musically it is. I mean, with bass, you can, you change
yeah,
one bass line, you change the whole chord of the song
right.
or of the moment of the song and everything. Yeah, it really is important,
I
so
remember
it's
not knowing what
yeah.
bass was in like rock music
It's
as a
hard to
kid.
figure out
Like,
what it is,
but then you go
actually.
to a show and all you hear is the
Yeah.
guitar and the bass hasn't come in yet, and then you're boom, 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 boom. And I
Yeah.
saw Robert Trujillo doing like the Guillermo del Toro like Pan's Labyrinth walk, like, and he was just like, dude, and all of a sudden it came out, I was like, oh, that's what bass does. It's
Yeah.
really important. I thought you could just play whatever you wanted, and it was just like, oh, that's, you just need another guy. Like,
I just thought it was like the less talented person
Yeah,
did it, or
yeah.
like
Yeah.
the girl, because it only has like the four, it has less strings. So I'm like, wow, must be the really stupid person who has to do that, or the
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, dude. No, I mean, I just like, because I didn't grow up playing instruments.
I can't play anything,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah. So I'm just like, what is I don't get it. Like, what does the bass do? Like, you see someone strum a guitar, it does something. You don't see people playing bass by themselves, like as this thing by itself, but every song needs it. So it's just like, it's crazy. So, Ride the Lightning. I maybe, are we all in agreement? I think this is Metallica's
it's
best
the
album.
best one.
It is so good. Every song on it's amazing. It has it introduces Old Testament God wiping out, like, God cataclysm of like the book of Exodus and Creeping Death, which is one of the greatest rock songs of all time in my opinion. And then also they have like HP Lovecraft songs on here. Like,
Yeah.
so they do get kind of
Mhm.
like nerdy, and that continues in the thing that should not be on Master of Puppet. Like, they do just the right amount of like RPG, like musty, like weird hair tabletop
And this was
game.
way when nobody, like, now because of the 2010s, people all know what like Cthulhu is, because
Yeah.
that's kind of like an epic twirly mustache bacon era. Like people, you know, Kraken, rum, that kind.
Yeah.
People didn't
Yeah.
before the
It's like,
2010s. Like people didn't know what a Cthulhu
you had to be
was at all.
because
You had to be like a
you had to be a
nerd.
nerd.
Nobody reads that shit in the first place, but people really didn't know. You had to be like a Cliff Burton type guy who wants to read that type of book and is thinking about
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, because you're right. Because like now, if I was like, hey, I have a rock band and we made a song about Yog Sothoth from the Shadow of Innsmouth, but everyone would be like, cool, Reddit is down the hall to the left, you know, like people would say that now. But like Metallica doing that in the 80s, where they're like crushing Budweisers on stage but playing like Cthulhu songs and stuff, like it's got this like aesthetic irony to it in a sense, because like James Hetfield, you know, he's like a sensitive guy, but on stage he looks like a fucking football coach. Like he looks like some like he, especially once he became like in 2003, like, or like 2004, like Orange County Choppers, like when that scene when he rides away on his chopper after one argument, like I love that scene so much.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. It's totally of the time with like the weird cross ring that he has and stuff.
His before he gets shipped off to the rehab for 6 months, his hair at that part looks amazing, where it's frosted.
Yeah,
It's like wavy, like frosted tips, kind of like Smash Mouth,
yes.
Sugar Ray era.
Mark McGrath, absolutely. Yeah, no, and then when he comes back, he has the Lane Staley slick back with glasses, and it's like, did you discover you needed glasses? Like, yeah, it's really like the glasses you can tell are like this. Hey guys, talk to me a little different. You know, that whole thing cracked me up. But yeah, Ride the Lightning. But
also, okay, Call of Cthulhu was huge at the time, like a weird at the time, because you have to think every other metal song coming out then was like AC/DC type or like Kiss type, just about fucking girls and getting drunk. Like that's, you know, this was really out there shit to make a song that was not just about like, you're 16, you know.
Yeah.
16 and loose. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm the PE teacher. You're 16. Yeah. But what's funny too is like you would ask yourself, like, who has the nerdier fan base right now? Megadeth or Metallica? It's clearly Megadeth, right? Has like
nerdier. Do they have separate fan bases? Because I just assume that if you're into one, then you're into the whole constellation.
I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that like Megadeth, if you look at all the songs Dave Mustaine had for like Kill 'Em All, it's literally about like fucking girls. Like all of the songs, like the Four Horsemen was supposed to be, it was Mechanics, right? It was all about fucking. And then it showed like, I think Jump in the Fire is about getting like an STD. It was like Dave Mustaine was like getting an STD.
Because Dave Mustaine was experimenting in the occult at this point and casting spells on girls so they would fuck him. And he later became a born-again Christian because he went to AA. He was the worst drunk of all of them, so he had to go to AA the soonest. So like by like the late 80s, he's already a born-again Christian.
And now he's MAGA, and everyone hates him now.
He's MAGA, and also clearly, as we were saying, Glenn, the James Hetfield is clearly a Republican because he doesn't
Absolutely.
say anything about politics. And when he did, it was like 2008, and he said he was glad that the U.S. military was using Metallica songs to torture whatever Iranians, whatever race it was then. And he was
Yeah.
unapologetic about it. So clearly,
Yeah, and then that, and then he was also like, they asked him about global warming, and again, for people who are like 25 right now, you don't understand. Like in 2000, in the aughts, in the 2000s, they asked, everyone asked you about global warming
global
because
warming was the transgender George Floyd of the 2000s.
yeah,
You had
they
to
asked.
pledge fealty to the system of
Yeah,
global.
in
You had to, or lest you be labeled
Al Gore would
completely. And like I don't know. I was never like a climate tard, but I fell for it a little bit. I'll admit it. In the 2015, I was like, oh yeah, climate
Well, they
change is a
used to
real
show
thing.
you the
Let's
dirty polar bear on the melting thing. Now they
yeah.
don't even have to show you the dirty polar
yeah,
bear on the
yeah.
melting thing. It's
Well,
just like
there's
the
records of
climate
sea
is
ice
yeah,
now. There's
yeah.
more than there's ever been. It's like a record
Yeah.
year. It's
No,
crazy.
Bill Gates doesn't even believe in it anymore. He was like, I don't.
No.
He's like, my bad,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
No, it's like everything else the Democrats believe in. They just quietly retcon it as if it never happened. They don't have to apologize. They don't have to
it's
reckon
they
with it.
detransition. They
Yeah, it's
They
the
detransition.
teach.
Yeah,
detransition.
yeah. I yeah, like the global warming. They asked James Hetfield, and he gave this quote, and this isn't like probably 2006, 2007, the height of like Inconvenient Truth. My boy Michael Crichton's State of Fear being really the lone voice, putting it into making great works of art around it and everything. But James Hetfield's like, yeah, I just don't think God wants to take us out like that. Like, I just think like, I think, look, I've seen the dirty polar bears. I've seen it. Like, it's
Yeah.
sad, but I just think we're going to be okay. And I think as humans, we need to get, and which is what you say now when you're like a Republican surrounded by Democrats. That's like what the average Republican says. And they ask now, they're like, has Metallica weighed in on the LGBTQ? And like, these are fans of like metal, and they'll be like, has the band about throwing fetuses in front of semi trucks weighed in
Yeah.
on Georgia's voter discrimination laws? Like, people really want to know this. And Metallica, they say, like, if you type it in, like, the number one Google result is Metallica chooses not to take a position.
Yes, this is the function that journalists and Democrats serve. And like as far as that cornering public figures into making a statement on the current thing, I don't know. I don't think that like non-Swifties are aware of this, but for about half a decade, Taylor Swift was demonized in the press merely because she would not issue a statement condemning Trump, or like she tried to remain apolitical because of her country fan base. And she put out the Reputation album, and it was trashed by every journalist purely because it was right after the first Trump election and everybody else was putting out their Trump derangement albums, and it wasn't about that. So just as an example of someone completely different from Metallica, just the level of like cornering celebrities and demanding that you give a soundbite parroting the current thing. It's everywhere. That's what they do.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So yeah, some more. Ride the Lightning does start with You could tell this is a James Hetfield thing. He's got to have an acoustic intro. Like you can tell he would do that to every song. But I think it gets restrained by Lars Ulrich. They're such a good yin and yang, even though it like the arguments they have, like you would make you want to leave the room. But that's why after a while, the longest running band of like Rob Trujillo and Kirk Hammett, who are like the kids and the like parents arguing thing, and they just sit there like playing in the corner, like while they're arguing, and they're like, this is, like, when are they gonna
Guys,
stop?
guys,
What if we all went
guys.
to the playground instead?
Yeah.
Like, and like they're doing like that, but Ride the Lightning, the actual song, is incredible. I love how high James
So good.
Hetfield's voice comes in. Give me a time. No, 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 no. Like that, I mean, the album cover just shows you this album's about
The
being
electric
electrocuted.
chair.
Yeah, this album's about being
Sick.
electrocuted. like which is such a
And I like that it's a mix. It's not yet just like the horrors, the evils of society, like and Justice for All and Master of Puppets. It's like a mix of regular
Yeah.
metal horror and like electric chairs in society. So it's I'm like,
Yeah.
when I hear Injustice for All, I'm like, what are they so mad about?
They're
Like,
paying taxes. They
oh, it
started
was
having to pay
they
that.
found
Yeah,
out about taxes. Okay,
yeah.
that was
Don't tread on me. Like
because
all those
it
songs.
sound like
Yeah.
they're like not even like demonstrative libtards like in the way of like the Clash or something, but they're so mad about like society on
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. No, I because like you see the way they
injustice.
write songs, like the beginning of Some Kind of Monster. Like I'm just thinking about Frankenstein, man. The neck,
Yeah.
the bolts in the neck, the arms, and then they're just like, yeah, go ahead, say that. Nobody cares
Mhm.
about that, but yeah, like yeah, for sure. Because I don't need to know a single Metallica lyric. You don't have to, as long as James Hetfield sounds cool, and he's a great singer, by the way.
Mhm.
I think he gets that, like, which everybody loves Creed and Nickelback now, but like that was like a huge joke at the time, like when Creed and Nickelback came out, like people laughed at it then, but now everybody's like ironically coming back to like Nickelback being a good band. But James Hetfield's a big joke to everybody. The give me fuel, give me fire, like they do that, like they think that's like all he does. But like, listen to like For Whom the Bell Tolls. He sounds scary. It's cool. Like it's not like he sounds like a football coach, and you're like scared to go to practice.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's like For Whom the Bell Tolls is seriously one of the greatest rock songs ever made, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Like
Mhm.
it's just evil. Like I said, it's evil without being demonic. Like it's
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, like it feels like Final Boss. The final boss is there, and it's very much like wrestler music before wrestler music existed. And I just the drums on that song, they're simple, but like the drum fills, like it makes you want to like play on the steering wheel when you're going 37 and a 35. Like you're just it's For Whom the Bell Tolls is awesome. Fade to Black. I mean, I love that song a lot, and I love like when it turns into like a metal song after a while, like
Mhm.
and it's like really like it's kind of an epic, like an epic film, like to it. And then the second half of the album is like Old Testament and then like Cthulhu mythos, and
Mhm.
like, which I was just like, this is an incredible sequenced album. And like I said, Creeping Death, the part when die, like that shit is
Yeah.
awesome. Like this is literally a Christian song. This is
Mhm.
literally the Old
Mhm.
Testament. It's the Book of Exodus. Like I paired it with our Prince of Egypt episode on like the paywall. Like I played it at the end because we talked about the Book of Exodus. Like
Nice.
it's so good. I can listen to this album over and over again. I bought it from Streetlight Records for like $5.99 when I was a kid with like my allowance, and I just like I didn't quite understand it when I was a kid, but I just knew it was like hell yeah. But now there's a lot more to it to me, I think, than when I was a kid.
This
Yeah, I think
one,
it's the one that's aged the best of
yeah,
all of them and seems the freshest and the most um immersive today.
it's got a
Yeah.
cohesiveness to it. It flows better than the first album a little bit to
Mm-hmm.
me, which I do
Yeah.
like.
It's more ambitious too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't get too acoustic. Yeah, for me, none of the acoustic intros are like that good to me. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's like get to I was just
Yeah, I
not
never
trying.
care about the
Yeah,
it
it's
was
just
a
I
kind
big
think I
of
deal
think
to
Fade to
people at the
Black.
time.
I think Fade to
yeah,
Black sounds like an Eagles song if the Eagles actually made like metal. Like I don't
yeah,
know. I to me I not all of them. I'm with you. Like Fight Fire with Fire. You're just like, you could have just started with the do unto others. Like you could have just started with that. Again, another biblical
Mhm.
thing.
yeah.
But like he. You could have just. I agree with you guys on that one. But I don't know. I like some of their little ballady songs. I didn't when I was a kid though. I was like, why is this on here? I want to rock.
The ballady
Like
stuff never sticks around too long. That's why I appreciate it. It's I mean, except for load and reload, there's usually only one ballady thing per
yeah,
album.
you can tell they have a formula where it's like they probably make like 4 or 5 ballads and they're like, okay, James, pick one.
Yeah.
And but the I didn't realize that the artwork came from it's like it says like the title was actually, I'm sorry, the title of the album was taken from The Stand, Stephen King book, so that's pretty sick.
Oh yeah, that's the type of book that this type of guy would have been reading at that time. A big deal to this type of guy.
Just a big massive book, and then you can you
Yeah.
imagine if you have Ride the Lightning and The Stand. Like you just have
Mm,
that, like society. How good is society at that moment?
yeah, Society is
I'm reading
great.
this new Stephen King 1,000 page Stephen King book, and then I have Ride the Lightning by Metallica.
Hmm.
And just unbelievable. Anybody who's like too cool for Metallica, you're not. So get that out of here. But
No, there's nothing. This whole world is in the past. There's no proving anything to anyone now.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Master of Puppets. I agree with you guys that it is a lesser of these albums, but this is still part of the like 70s Black Sabbath run where like everything's
Mhm.
good. So it's like you're like picking between children, like your own children at this point. Like it's like this is the one that's kind of annoying, like, but it's not though. But you still have like the Sanitarium, which like Sanitarium's a good song, but it's like it doesn't really fit on the album in my opinion. Like there's certain parts of it, but I love songs like Leper Messiah,
Leper
which I think
Messiah is my favorite
it
track on
fucking
that.
rules.
Yeah.
The title track's great. I mean, everyone's heard it a million times. It's in that like ACDC TNT kind of category where it's like
Mhm.
I never need to hear this again. But in the scope of the album, it's really good. The thing that should not be, I think, that's another Lovecraft song, basically. You know,
And this
uh,
is where the lyrics all become like
yeah,
serious about something, which is
Yeah.
like
existential. Yeah.
war. Like what? Like everybody's like a pawn being sent to
Mhm.
wars by like the government.
And addiction too. This is a big
Yeah.
addiction album. Master of Puppets is, a lot of the I think some of the best like Metallica lyrics are about like addiction, like sad but true, and like all of these like just kind of like I'm your only friend, like you have
Hmm.
it's not literally everyone hates you except for me, like kind of manipulation, kind of personification of something like that can manipulate you like a human being. A lot of these things are really I do like Master of Puppets. It was the shirt that everybody had.
I
I
love it. It's
remember
classic shirt. I'd wear the shirt every day.
the shirt's great. It
Yeah.
looks like what kind of like art is that? Like I'm not
I kind of
like
wanted to get into metal because one particular
mhm,
goth guy that I knew,
mhm.
the type that like smoked cigarettes when he was like 15, would wear this Master Puppet shirt every day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really want to know what that world is all about.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great. It's great.
Yeah, because it's one of those albums where you're like, I think I shouldn't be allowed to listen to this, but literally no one stops you from listening to
No
it.
one
Like your
stops you
parent.
because it's not vulgar. They don't,
Yeah.
does any Metallica, I guess later they say the F word in like the
Saint Anger.
2000s?
Saint Anger. It's
Okay,
new
so that's the
metals.
first
Yeah.
time they say the F word because they're always very canny and like worried about things being sold at Walmart. And this is that era of like worrying about parental advisory and everything and like Walmart sales. And they were super concerned with the artwork of Load with the semen and blood, preventing it from being sold at Walmart and stuff. So they always kind of stayed clean. And again, it's key to their success. Like, similarly, like AC/DC, even though every AC/DC song is like foul and like about sex and everything, I don't think they ever say the F word. So
No.
it's kind of a line that they don't cross. It's like pretty smart.
Them saying they had big balls was like a big deal. I've got big balls. Yeah. And
But
it's
it's
just
always
like,
like a double entendre that could be something
yeah.
else. It's never like,
Right.
like pussy or.
Or like Queen, like, I'm in love with my car. I fucking love
Yeah,
my car, which is a cock.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's okay. So and Justice for All. I do love this album. Like I actually this was one that I remember when I was a kid going through like kind of discovering Metallica for the first time in like the late 90s. I remember thinking like I like one and that's it. Like I remember thinking of that song, and even then, one you kind of just are like, yeah, but from like 2:45 on, I love one. And I,
Did you
but
wonder why it sounded so bad? Was that your first reaction? Or did you think it sounded good?
no, I think some of the songs were just like I
Like
was
the
like,
production I'm talking about, like the tinny,
oh, I didn't know what that
weird,
was at the time.
uh,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're listening to it off of a cassette tape,
Oh
no matter
no,
what.
no.
Yeah, it has this
Yeah.
famously thin production with like no bass, because their bass player had just been killed in a bus accident,
Dude.
I guess. But it's like it seems like it's supposed to be some kind of like avant-garde statement that it sounds so shitty,
Yeah.
and that you kind of accept it as you're listening through it. But it is weird. It's very weird. When I first put this in, getting it after Master of Puppets, I was like, why does it sound like I'm listening to this through a toilet paper tube?
Yeah, but you brought up Cliff Burton dying, and I to this day didn't realize how it happened. I have this weird thing, like when you think about like Grace Kelly dying, right, or somebody like that, like you're like she crashed and then she like hit her head and then she died with like no blood because it's Grace Kelly. You know, like you don't think like somebody's head would get like smashed in because you're like it's like a movie where you're like you just like Faye Dunaway in Chinatown, like maybe a missing eye or something. Like you would just think that. But like and I thought Cliff Burton was the same way. I was like, oh, their bus flipped over and like he banged his head too hard against the wall, and they were like, Cliff, you know, like that's what
No.
he like thought. He fell out of the bus and the bus fell on him
Yeah.
after they were playing a card, like a draw the card game where he was like, all right, whoever gets the ace of spades wins. And then he goes, well, I want Kirk's bed. And Kirk's like, fine, because he's not, doesn't get in the way of anything. He wouldn't like Dave Mustaine would be like, fuck you, faggot, you know what I mean? And they would like fight, and then Dave Mustaine would have died in the bus. Like that's what would have happened. But Kirk Hammett's like, okay. And then he goes in the front, and like they're like the bus flipped over, and like James Hetfield said he spilled like coffee all over himself, and you could tell James Hetfield was like drunk, like waking up, still like making coffee, and the bus flips over, which like if you have like a bad hangover, it kind of feels like you're like car sick, at least for me. And like just James Hetfield's always burning himself constantly. So I thought about that when they were talking about it. It's
He's
like just
burning himself all, and I like that his alcoholism isn't like fun party
yeah,
good times. It's just kind of like he's insecure and probably not all that bright
like an
and
author. Yeah.
you know, and just not terribly social. And you know, alcohol just makes constantly appearing in public and playing shows okay. So, but
He
it's never
crushes
just like,
yeah.
you know, wild motley crew. Like they tried the breaking lamps and stuff, like trashing hotel rooms things, like very briefly at the beginning, but then realized they had to pay for all that stuff, so they stopped that. So it
Yeah,
was
exactly.
just, you know, kind of him. His drinking was always of a more serious character than everyone else's.
Well, that's why he didn't have to get sober till the 2000s, because nobody was like, James, you got to clean up. They're like, he's just drunk in his room by himself. We don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like he's not like, it's not like, damn, James fucking took, you know, so and so's car out and smashed it up. Like, dude, James out of control. Like Keith Moon. You know what I mean? Like he's not
Vince Neil.
Yeah, just like
killing,
insane
running people over. Yeah.
Ozzy, you know what I mean? Like just these like insane, like Ozzy's got like weird chemicals. Like you're just like, what? Ozzy found chemicals. He found Batman Joker chemicals from the cartoon. Like, how do we stop him? Like, you know, but yeah, I don't know. It's odd. Like, so Cliff Burton dying, and it clearly, like, again, like you said, they lost their like smartest guy. They had already lost their most talented guy at the time in Dave Mustaine. They had lost like the shit, Dave knows how to do all the songs. Fuck. You know, like that already happened, but that was a bargain they had to make. Whereas Cliff Burton was like probably like the sweet angel of the group. And it was like, damn it, of course Cliff's the one that dies, you know, and it's kind of interesting the way they released the news too. Like they had to like send it to their fan page, which then like MTV, like Kurt Loder would then get that information.
Yeah, there's all this like Bram Stoker's Dracula, like antiquated ferrying of the news that this guy, you know, and it's like 1986 or whatever. And still, it has to be like, you know, a horse has to
Nobody
take
can make a
the
phone
handwritten
call.
letter that's announcing his death. And I just another fact that I really enjoy that I have to say is that Dave Mustaine was a drug dealer living in Huntington Beach. So that just like says a lot about like
Val
who,
Kilmer in a 90s
yeah,
movie.
just imagine like that guy like selling you drugs in like 1982.
And then you have to like listen to this fucking lick and this guitar lick in the fucking car. Dude. Listen to this shit, dude. That shit's fucking sick, dude. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Like Pineapple Express, the that movie. Yeah, like,
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Who's the other Megadeth guitarist? Was it Marty Friedman, or he's cool.
Isn't it weird Swedish people? I thought that's all Megadeth was
Yeah.
like a Mexican guy, Dave Mustaine, and like two Fijian.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
up on like the rest of the Megadeth cast, except there's like
I
the
think-
other Dave that I just found out was Me Too
Really?
questionably, and there's like another Dave, but like yeah, the Megadeth is like another good area to get into after you've listened to like all this, because you listen to them and Dave Mustaine has everybody's like he's so cringe and embarrassing, but then the Megadeth albums are all awesome. So it's just like more. They're good.
Yeah.
They're good. It's cool.
He sells, but who's buying? That's a great song. Yeah.
Yeah,
he would piss off. I think he pissed off. He would just like cut people's solos without telling them before releasing the album.
No, he would be like,
oops.
he's like he would be, if Dave Mustaine was out now, people would be like, Dave Mustaine has autism. Be careful.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
They would
like
say that. That's why I just really like someone that will say whatever the fuck they want in public rather than just being tasteful as all celebrities are now.
Yeah, he doesn't know that like you're not supposed to do that anymore. Like they'll have him on a show and they're like, so Dave, what about that? And he's like, that guy's a fucking retard, man. Like that, yeah.
I also like completely understand his position. Like if you it's like devastating having any kind of band, you know, any kind of like partnership that breaks up. But imagining that, and then they fire you for being like slightly too much of a drunk and just kind of like a blabbermouth, like just before they become the biggest band in the world. And that's all anyone ever asks you about. It's not like it's not like he had an option of being like mother of the world, like tasteful and being like, I wish them the best. That's what you get asked in every interview by every single person for the rest of your life is about Metallica. So I get it. I like that he was crying in that.
No, it worked. It's like a well-written screenplay, like where you're like, he's like, you when you see like a modern show where people are like, oh, and that character makes me sick, but it's like you wouldn't watch the show if he wasn't there. Like you,
and I like people who have dabbled in the occult and then realized that it's real and then renounced it. So
and it's just funny how like metal used to be like or like heavy whatever. I people no, that's grindcore. I have no idea what any.
There's no all that stuff that people used to make up. That was like gatekeeping. What like all you do is like press play on the Metallica album and it's like sick and awesome and heavy. That's it. Like it's not this whole like this intricate like flow chart of like at what point Metallica betrayed you personally by making a slightly more accessible song, you know.
Yeah. But the I guess like what I mean is like it's kind of like how like sci-fi writers used to be like everybody was kind of just a Republican, like they were all like Kerry King and the guy from the lead singer of Slayer, like the Mexican guy or Chile, whatever the fuck he is from South America, he's like still into Trump. Like it was like vocal Trump supporter people. So what I mean is like sci-fi writers like Robert Heinlein back in the day, like there were a lot of like libertarian, like, you know, keep the government. This is about against government tyranny and all this stuff, and fuck taxes. And I wish I could have a colony by myself where we wrote sci-fi or just rock and roll the whole time. But then like now, of course, you know, like anything else, any sort of Dungeons and Dragons, any sort of anything is just now like just lived hearted out.
Yeah,
but
the mind virus reached it.
Yeah, but like Slayer, all of these people, like you'll go on. I you know, it's a little bit of a masochistic thing. It might be. I would just type in Dave Mustaine Republican, James Hetfield Republican, Kerry King Republican, any of these guys, and you would just get diatribes on Reddit where it would start turning into like arguments about the 30s and like Nazis. And I'm like, dude, you listen to this shit for a reason. You love it. It's you should actually like learn a little something about yourself while you listen to this, rather than like I just wish Dave Mustaine would join the K Hive, you know, like no, you don't wish that. You don't know what you want, and that's why you shouldn't be allowed to just grab music from the internet for free, because you haven't earned that. You're an idiot. Like I don't know. I thought that was just like I
find it interesting that, you know, Slayer had this big moment in the 2010s, like kind of an epic bacon twirly mustache unicorn poop like that, like people that wouldn't be interested in that sort of thing, but Slayer stuff was everywhere, like next to like Selena, and there was that horrible shirt that had like it was like the Slayer logo with the pentagram, and then it said Selena.
Oh
Like this
no.
is like, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know the
What's a
type of shit that I'm talking about?
I've seen
Okay,
I
but
haven't
like
seen that
a certain
one, but
category
yeah.
per like everybody was still like Metallica is cringe, Napster, blah blah blah. They're old, but then Slayer was this big epic thing to pretend to be
Yeah.
into in the 2010s, just because it had the fucking pentagram, so it shows your like allegiance to Satan or whatever. Metallica did not get extended the same
Yeah.
courtesy because
They
it
just
didn't have a
didn't
pentagram on it.
they just had a cool M that looked kind of scary in their name. Like
I
they're
like
like
how in the documentary you can see like that board with all their post-its and it's like their like shitty drawings of the logo. Like
that's that's one of the best documentaries about
it
bands
is
ever.
the that I bought it on iTunes so I
It's
can watch
so
it over
good.
and it's really addictive. It's really addictive.
And you can like you can like clean your house or do whatever while it's on, and they're just like, James, I'm not fucking saying this, man. I'm not. James, chill out. And then he's like, no, Lars, I do. And then Phil, the therapist, will come in and go, okay, here's the thing. What Lars is saying is important. I don't know that he's right. I don't. And then like it's back and forth. And then they're playing. And then it's James with my some kind of monster. And that's it happens over and over again. And then they're like James is in HP Lovecraft.
And those
Ice
details
Dungeon
like
Rehab.
that
Yeah.
Deliverance poster in their office.
Yes. In the Presidio. That is such a beautiful area of San Francisco. That studio. Oh my
And
gosh.
there's
Yeah.
not it's really unique because it's like a reality show, but there's no big like Jersey Shore like Snooki
Yeah.
getting punched like drama or anything. It's just like these
Yeah.
like tough metal like adult men like just having these little tearful arguments that you're not certain what they're about really. Just years of resentment. It's just great.
Yeah. And they're like trying to come up with an album name. They're like, I like
I
Saint
think that
Anger.
Frantic would be a better title.
Yeah. And then Lars is like, that's fair. That's fair. It's
Mhm.
just like I thought it was
I
hilarious.
hear
But
you. I hear what you're saying.
yeah,
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 they learn their new bullshit therapy
yeah.
way of talking to each other where they're
present.
like,
I'll be present for you,
I'll
James.
be
Yeah.
present. And
Yeah.
their little like whatever their previous hierarchy of like not being able to talk about each person's role in the band. Like you can't criticize the drums unless you're making the drum. You can't criticize the
Yeah. Yeah.
like, and then they have to make it this pluralistic, like we're all writing the songs together.
Yeah.
Like we're all a part of that. It's so funny.
When really James Hetfield was like, I used to do this drunk in my room by myself. This was
Yeah,
really
and
fun.
he was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you were
this-
right before the therapy. You had the
Yeah.
correct instincts in not wanting to do this and not wanting to do the documentary. Like
yeah, gosh, that therapist was such an evil presence. Like in
evil parasitic therapist just
yeah.
butting into this, doing nothing.
Yeah, he looks like
The
he's gonna
cans
like
of Coca-Cola on the coffee table.
yeah, and they're just eating deli sandwiches all day. Actually, looks really good. But yeah, the Injustice for All, though, I will say I do love it though. Like I
do
like
too.
I have the Beholders, awesome song. Blackened, I mean, is incredible. I've always loved that song. But
Yeah.
that's that one, especially when you hear some live versions of that, it's pretty amazing. Harvester of Sorrow is a classic. I mean, that's just like they're great. I mean, and one is awesome. I mean, like that is one of the, like the great moments of like rock and roll.
And that's the first music video.
Yeah,
which
and the music video,
it's kind of mind blowing that they didn't have a video before this because
yeah,
they
that would've
were
been great.
this
Yeah.
underground word of mouth thing that everybody knew was going to break at some point. And interestingly, the first big vocal journalist Metallica supporter was Xavier Russell, Ken Russell's son.
Oh,
He was like the very first person who said how good they were. And Injustice for All is the first double album, which everything after this is going to be double LP length. And so it's a change in tone. I guess the Black album is not double LP length. That's like 50 minutes, but everything else is maximum CD 80-minute length, and that's like fairly difficult to listen to today. Like you just wish everything was the length of
yeah.
Ride the Lightning, so you can just like
Exactly.
play it over and over again. But Injustice for All is the first epic double album where everything's 8 minutes long.
Yeah, and it's funny. My dad in 1988 went to the Monsters of Rock tour, where he's not even like a massive Metallica. He likes them from like oh, that song sounds good, but he didn't become like obsessive about them. But he went in 1988 he went and saw it was Metallica and Van Halen in 1988, which is like that's not the time to see Van Halen. Like, yeah, that is like he said that towards the end they were all picking up different instruments and then arguing with each other and stuff. Like it was like it was you know talking about like the public drunkenness, like Van Halen drunkenness, and then it was also the Scorpions and Dawkins. So it was an awesome show, and I doubt he even remembers half of it.
Wow,
Fucking
that would have been
up.
good times.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and Justice for All is cool because, like you said, like you can tell they're just like it's one of those things where they've like seen how much comes out of like their royalties and checks, and they're just like, I hate the government. And
yeah, because how old are they at this point? Like still like 22. They're so young. That's just blowing my mind the entire time. They're so young.
Yeah.
So I didn't really find out what taxes were until 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So
they were used to getting paid from like the Whiskey a Go Go for like in cash or whatever, like you know these deals. But then now they're like Sony BMI or whatever the fuck their label they're on is like taking this, and then you have to have like conference calls with people who get this money and stuff, and you realize like after a while those people actually like if they're good at their job, they're meant to help you, but you're in that weird phase, I think. And that's why like this album is like people's heads blow off in Nam and I'm paying taxes, you know, like that's like kind of the album, but and then you have Harvester of Sorrow, which is just like evil's happening outside.
And the one video is it has all these clips of Johnny Got His Gun, the movie about it's an adaptation of a book, but the movie is from the early 70s, I think, about like a soldier whose face and everything is blown off and he just like has that mask.
Yeah. That's but it's funny, you can tell they don't know how to really quite incorporate that into a music video yet.
They're not music video artists.
And also there's guns. There's just guns shooting over all the important parts of the songs.
It's like the only good.
Yeah.
I would say that Sad But True is the best music video, and that's just like a kind of concert, like generic concert video. I hate the Unforgiven, like black and white movie type music video that they're not in. And then the Mama Said video, which is he's like in the car and it's like 90s like faded Las Vegas, Anton Corbin stuff. That's good, but they're not music video. The Enter Sandman video is like, you know, it's not great compared to videos everybody else was making. Metallica wasn't a very good video artist.
They basically said MTV needs to play. If you want this on MTV, that's how you get the song big. You have to have a visual. And you know, I love the Saint Anger video in San Quentin prison too. I love that one. But that was a big thing. Like just prison, this is raw. We're in prison, and there's Mexican guys and they like it. But they have tattoos on their throats, man. It's crazy. But the Black Album, Sellout album. I'm looking at how much this album sold. It's insane how much this album sold. Like I didn't quite realize. Like I knew how because I was 1 when it came out, so I'm not able to see this happen in real time. Like you hear like your parents, I don't know if your guys' parents talk about like what was actually big in the 70s versus what we listen to now. And sometimes there's like a middle of the Venn diagram, like Dark Side of the Moon. But like a big one that this album like passed in the for like being on the charts the longest was Tapestry by Carole King. I was like, that was the one, and I love that album. I just had no idea.
That brings me no joy.
Really? You
don't
feel the earth mood under your feet?
No, it just makes me think of like, you know, that coming on in movies to indicate that it's the 70s. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't like bring. I like the Carole King Care Bears soundtrack song, and I like the Gilmore Girls song.
Yeah. Oh, but then in 2000, Gilmore Girls. It always comes back to the Gilmore Girls. Yeah. But in 2009. the Black Album surpassed Shania Twain's "Come On Over" as the best-selling album of the SoundScan era.
Wow.
That was the best-selling album of the
That's
SoundScan.
crazy.
Like,
Of course,
you could've given-
there's something I don't trust about Shania Twain.
She's Canadian. Yeah. It's just
But, like, I don't-
Yeah.
Like I like Any Man of Mine, but there's like just always been something I distrust about her.
You're still the one. That one.
Faith Hill's the superior.
Faith Hill's great.
Yeah, I do kind of like This Kiss more than I like all the
This Kiss-
Shania Twain.
Cy played that at his wedding. I'm not gonna play.
Hell yeah.
He did. 'Cause
Throw
I
that
was
in
the
mix,
I was
dude.
the DJ. So I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you can pawn that off on your wife. I know who. I know who put this on the playlist.
No, but
Yeah,
I had a question. Not to we could talk about that. We could keep talking about the wedding playlist if you want, but
No,
Um,
you're good. You're off the- Yeah.
I had a question. We didn't talk about this. Did David? Does he get checks from Metallica
No,
for the first?
they
No.
don't give a shit.
Okay,
His
all right,
net
or-
worth is like 20 mil, which is like obviously,
But it's not like 200 mil.
I thought Dave
Yeah.
Mustaine would have like $100 million because Megadeth can tour. Like I said, they do those like Wicker Man like burning doll festivals that like
that are
and
just
you
like
can-
scary events for Mexicans to go to in
Yeah.
countries all
It's-
like South America.
and Swedish people that like eat their friends and stuff. And
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, I'm at the Megadeth. Like, you know,
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah, you think that pays a lot. Like my dad used to be really good friends with like a guy who's in some metal band. I can't even fucking remember what it was. It was just one of those like metal bands that like people know or something. And he used to be in like a golf tournament with him. And he's like, yeah, this shit pays like a bunch of money. So I was like, Dave Mustaine is like $20 million. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't get anything from Metallica.
Yeah.
That is not
Mm-mm.
Metallica money. So
Well, I was thinking-
yeah, it's great.
No, and then the weird thing, yeah, with the Black Album, it's weird that like Metallica's an '80s band and their biggest album is '91. There's not as many, not
No,
it's like not many bands follow that trajectory where they blow up in the '90s. Most are on the decline by that point. You know, I don't know.
yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like everything came into place because their unglamorous image became the dominant trend of
Grungy.
the 90s. So they were way ahead of the curve in that respect when everybody else was like theatricality and makeup and performance is bad, like depressing authenticity and songs about suicide are good. Metallica was already doing that, but
You're like, cool, sounds
the
good. Yeah.
the Black Album was what pushed them into superstar status that if they had stayed just doing thrash would never have happened. Even though
Would've
every
faded out.
Metallica fan likes the thrash stuff more than they like this, you're just never gonna reach the masses of people in the way that Enter Sandman will reach the masses of people. And like, is that song like a cliche to y'all that makes you like feel nothing? Like I feel like Carole King, I feel the earth move is to me.
Well,
Because
that makes me feel great, but
because Enter Sandman is
not.
not at all. It's like sick every time I listen to it. Like I think people like that attend sports games or something like they
that's the
have an
problem.
association with it.
Yeah,
But I don't
it's
do that,
TNT.
so
It's-
I'm just like, this is really cool. And
It's Welcome to the
nightmarish every
Jungle.
time.
Like Welcome to
Yeah.
the Jungle is like San Jose SaberCats Arena League football kicking off. Like it's so divorced of what it is. Now that being like it's New York Yankees, Mariano Rivera has it as is like it's like, but I mean let's be honest, like I think it's fine. I think it's a good song. I like it.
I get
This album,
happy
though. I think
hearing
this album-
it. It's
Yeah.
not like hearing something overexposed
I
to
think
me.
it's one of the best vocal melodies that they've ever done. You know, it's really
Hetfield is the man, dude. Like Hetfield, like going back on this, I'm like, God, I've always been a fan,
And I love that it's like about nightmares. It's not the Injustice for All like society stuff. It's like Mr. Tinker Train type, like like basic like nightmare material.
Yeah, and the kids praying, the kids' voice. That was such a big
I
'90s
pray
thing.
the Lord
like,
my soul to keep.
Such a big '90s thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's awesome. That's it.
Yeah, it's like they don't even mix it right. It's like sounds like it's not even like mixed on the song.
No, it's like
properly.
Lou Reed when Lou Reed's album. What was Lou Reed's album about? Like the like opera he did in the '70s of like
Berlin.
Yeah, Berlin, where like the guy has the kids in there, like talking about getting like taken away from CBS,
Yeah,
and the
they're
kids are like
taking
crying in
the
there.
children
Yeah,
away.
and the kids are like, "Mom, why?" And it's like this is fucked up.
Yeah,
But the Sandman
yeah.
one, it's like just say your prayers like that you say to bed every night, and the kid's like,
Yeah.
fine, you know what I mean? Like, it's so like tame compared to like Lou Reed's like mom's getting taken away for, and he makes like the engineers kids do it. Like the guy's
Yeah.
like, my kids are
Yeah.
smart, they're not doing heroin. Like
The 1-2 punch of Enter Sandman and Sad But True never
that
gets
all
old to
Sad
me.
But
Sad
True
But True
is
is my favorite on this
Sad But
album.
True
Yeah,
makes me
it's a
want to take
great
2
song.
beers, open them up with one hand, and fucking just
Yeah.
pound them, Stone Cold Steve Austin style. The like, I love that, like with that song, you the hey, like you want that the whole time, and then it kind of like gets into like weird like
The like sitar,
yeah,
you know, what
Egyptian,
the Eastern
Egyptians,
influence.
yeah,
you know.
because Kirk Hammett's Filipino, but for all intents and purposes could be Arabic. Like, and
He looks like something different from every angle,
yeah,
and
exactly.
he's
He's the only one that kept the hair, like, or
Oh
besides
man,
the hair is rough. Kirk Hammett's
and
hair.
it looks like even by the
by
time of that
further
documentary, part of it's plugs. Like it looks like he got like plugs of that hair.
Yeah, I know, because he'll do like Rick Beato interviews now, and it's like, dude, you still have the Steven Tyler like skunk stripe like
That's
thing
pretty
happening?
awesome that he's
Yeah,
that
yeah,
just like a much of a bug-eyed freak.
yeah. He's dude. There's just Filipino guys in San Francisco that look like that everywhere. It's
And
crazy.
I love when it shows his ranch. He has this, y'all haven't
Yeah,
seen Knots Landing, but character Gary Ewing has like a ranch like that he's like, I just go here so I don't have to think about my corrupt family. And Kirk Hammett has that ranch and it shows like the horses running by and it's like, I just have to have this place to come to where it doesn't make me think of Metallica or the
love it.
band or anything.
Yeah, those horses are awesome too. Like they're like those like beautiful like Disney black horses.
It has like the pond. It's
yeah,
exactly like
they
Gary's
have
ranch.
so much money, like because of this album.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it's literally because of this album and the touring that spawned of it. And like it's no, Sad But True is incredible. But like there's a lot of the like Eastern, like Wherever I May Roam, like like very like Mario 64 sand level music like happening.
This sounds more, this at the time, this would have sounded more like high tech and expansive and
Yeah,
expensive than anything they'd ever done. But now, like the thrash stuff sounds way more like edgy and
right.
like current. And this sounds
Yeah.
very rooted to 1990.
This sounds like
Yeah.
she moves in
It
mysterious
does sound like,
way.
yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
same era.
That's
Or
what
like
that sounds
Carlos
like.
Santana, the
Yeah.
smooth. It's
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
very like it's had to be that moment.
Yeah,
like-
yeah. This was the melting pot. This was like the 90s were like the melting pot, you know, like it's
Yeah.
like when everything, it was globalism like literally happening at the time, and that's like the music that followed that. Like it was where everything was expanded. It's the Michael Crichton Rising Sun like of the world and stuff happening. And this was I still that sounds good, man. Like I
Yeah.
get it though at the time. I get it because as a fan, you still have that. It's still just like, I just wanted another rock Metallica album. Like I get why you think that, but you're first off, this album took off this probably 15 20x to their audience. Like it was again, Kirk Hammett has Disney horses on his farm. He's the guitarist for Metallica. He doesn't write anything. Like he has writing credits, but that's just like solos probably. And like
something I love about big blockbuster albums from like the 80s and 90s is they would have singles released for 3 consecutive years. So like Enter Sandman came out July 29th, 1991.
Yeah.
The last single was Sad But True, February 8th, 1993.
Yeah. They
That
also
was
have a
the
don't
level of ubiquity.
They also have a Don't Tread on Me, which they have the Gadsden flag in the St. Anger studio.
And
in San
the
Francisco.
cover is the Velvet Underground, White Light, White Heat, black on black. Like that had the skull tattoo on it. This has the Don't Tread on Me snake.
That was definitely intentional too, for
Yeah.
sure. Like because they're such Velvet fans and stuff.
Yeah.
Like so yeah, Bob Rock was a big part of that. Bob Rock, I think he was like kind of seen as like the like corporate suit guy that came in and made their sound mainstream. But again, Metallica probably just doesn't stay a band like that long if that doesn't happen. And they just basically they Bob Rock, like I said, produced Slippery When Wet, like very big 80s, like big rock, like sellout music that people would say at the time. And he saw something, I think it's the melodic part of like James Hetfield and their grooves and stuff, and like Lars's drumming, like it's accessible and stuff. And he saw like this accessibility in them. And and he saw them live and was just like, "Hey, you guys rock, but like I can make you guys like stars, you know that, like yeah." And
Oh, fuck.
uh,
Don't you want someone to do that to
yeah,
you? Don't you want one
yes.
of those Bob Rock guys to be like, I know how to sell you, and then
People
just
think he's
whatever.
like the Peter Thiel thing. Like people think that's like what he
No,
does.
no,
People think that's
I
what Bob
wish,
Rock does.
yeah, yeah.
And
Because that is such a specific
yeah,
talent that you need. You can be as,
yeah,
you can be as real, as talented as you want, like down here, but you're never gonna be propelled to that
yeah,
international gazillionaire status unless one of those people sees how to frame you and
yeah.
package you for everyone, for the masses, not just for a specific like cult.
Yeah. I love during the making of it, like you said, that the what is it, year and a half or something,
Hmm.
where Lars is constantly mentioning like, let's do a cowbell. Let's really sell out, man. Let's get our cowbell on. And he's like playing a cowbell on the one, which I'm like, that sounds pretty good. You should do that. Like that sounds like kind of tight on set,
And
on
he's there's the scene of they have all those porno mags out and they watch
yes.
Madonna's Justify My Love video single, and Lars is mocking it as everyone did at that time because everybody was like envious of Madonna's
Yeah.
success, and so he's making fun of that. I just love that little period detail of them watching the Justify My Love video.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, that whole, these are fun things to watch. They're all on like YouTube if you guys want to watch them and stuff. Like a lot
And
of
it's
these
good
stuff.
to see the pre-therapy, pre-AA version of James
Yes.
Hetfield versus the later one who's equipped with the glasses and the words. And uh this is where he like uh started blowing out his voice all the time. So he has
Yeah.
to like had to like get vocal
Opera.
training to not
Yeah.
do that. And so he got that tape that
Yeah.
it shows him doing those little vocal exercises later, and he uses that same little tape.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get Load, which was recorded in Sausalito, California. They do a bunch of shit by the Golden Gate Bridge. Like the Golden Gate Bridge is ever present in Metallica. They it's like this like it's like their Laurel Canyon. It's like it's funny.
Mhm.
If they actually were into that sort of thing. But the I never noticed this the semen like
You didn't
seminal
notice because it
quote.
makes me want to hurl. I hate it.
I had this
I
album.
was like the whole time I was listening to this album, I couldn't stop thinking about semen and blood mixed together, and I
Dude,
was like
I'm
nauseous all day.
I'm looking at the artist Andre Serrano, which
Oh,
is
you don't know who that is? Okay,
dude, he looks like transgender
this is
David
one.
Lynch.
No,
It's
this is
so
one of the
scary.
original like libtard art griffs. He did Piss Christ,
Oh,
which was the
who could
crucifix, the
forget?
picture of the crucifix drenched
Yes, yeah,
in the urine tank, and
oh,
that caused the whole early 90s like the government is like conservatives are coming for government funding of the arts, and so he's just this, I mean, I hate art altogether, but especially people who are successful at it, and people like him who do like Piss Christ, and um Load is notorious because Lars was the art collector the
yes.
European art collector who believed in this type of thing and
Who
insisted
had the
on,
Basquiat, the original Basquiat
yeah,
self
and you
portrait?
can see
Yeah,
all of his like stupid art in the documentary, but he
yeah,
was the one behind that. And they had, they wanted to do what many people were doing in the late 90s, which was the Anton Corbin makeover. Like Sheryl Crow did it with her second album,
yeah,
where
yeah.
she went from looking like pretty wholesome with her first one, and then they made everyone look like black and white photograph, like junky with
Yep.
like, smudged eyeliner. It was just the aesthetic. Depeche Mode did it. You
Mm-hmm.
shoot them in the desert, like with like Las Vegas in the
Mm-hmm.
background, like Las Vegas desiccation, and like
Lost
maybe some like
wages.
circus
Yeah.
freaks and stuff like that. And so they were just trying to be slotted into this certain image, and predictably their fans really hated it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Other than I think that Mama Said is like beautiful and exhilarating, and I was listening
Mhm.
to that over and over again. But this album which is 2 CD length albums, so it's a use your illusion thing. It goes on and on
80
and on
minutes.
and on, and it's not exactly bad, but I just like wanted it to be something else. I wanted it to be heavier. I just didn't get the sense of like exhilaration and like energy and fun that I get from every other Metallica album. I kept looking at the clock.
Yeah, I agree. You don't get lost in your town because, like, at the house we have, it's like the trees turn, so there's just leaves everywhere all over the lawn. So like my job was just rake the fucking leaves. That's all I was doing. So I was like, I could listen to all of Metallica's discography while I rake the leaves off the lawn. And I got like halfway through load and everything was done. I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like,
No, and,
and
then you're like, there's still reload.
yeah,
It's
and then
just
where's
they,
the crown king? Nothing. I'm putting away the equipment. I'm like, this king nothing.
King nothing. The lyrics
No
get
kings,
pretty
dude.
No kings.
embarrassing
It's no
here.
kings. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
There's they start to try to get really arty. There's the song with Marianne Faithfull on it.
La
She
la
was
la la la
not good.
la
She
la.
was very in the late 90s. She was a very like ubiquitous NPR type presence in the late 90s.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just
dude.
not it's not very pleasing. It went from, when I was listening to the first 3 albums consistently on a loop and I was all excited, and then changed to this, just my whole day slowed down. Everything slowed down. And this was right at that point where every artist was trying to do their double CD or triple CD, like with Prince's Emancipation.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
none of them are
dude.
good. Like I guess the most famous one and the most successful one is Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, but that's bad. I mean, it has a couple of songs, but I never liked it much. There's just like nobody can listen to an album that long and like pay attention to it. So,
Yeah. And then, of course, the thing you should do after that is a double album of covers.
which I liked. I liked it more than
It's not
Load
bad.
and Reload.
Sabra Cadabra's tight.
Yeah.
The Whiskey in the Jar cover is great. I think their Tuesday's Gone is really good. I was
It
like
is good.
and I will say Metallica is a good cover band. When Black Sabbath got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they did Hole in the Sky, which, we did our Black Sabbath episode. That's kind of like, that's not like a mainstream Sabbath song. Like
No, especially
that's
then when you didn't have the internet to look up whether that was
yeah.
cool.
So they did that like on VH1, like in front of
Very
a bunch
cool.
of people, and it's a sick cover too.
Yeah.
So like they're actually a really good cover.
I
Cover
really
band.
enjoyed Garage Inc. the
Yeah,
whole way
I love the
through.
cover. I love the Mechanic cover, the very
Mhm.
late '90s Mechanic covered in oil cover.
Yeah.
Covered in oil. Kirk Hammett just is like, now he looks Mexican. He's just
Yeah,
Mexican.
because
Late '90s.
this is a Beastie Boys image that
Yeah,
they're
you're
doing with
right.
this
Yeah.
cover. Like, why do they keep
Yeah.
trying with these different images? I guess when there's that many people that making that much money off of you, then there's just a constant team like swirling around you, being like, how do we
Yeah.
fix this so that it makes even more money? Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
they didn't have to change anything.
And I do like their the new bass player, or of the time, Jason Newsted. I think he does fine. I can't hear
Yeah.
it at this point. It sounds like fucking he's a very talented guy that everybody likes. The part of him leaving the band in the documentary to do Echo Brain, which you look up Echo Brain on Wikipedia, no albums came out.
Yeah, that was real stupid of him to
Fucking retard, dude.
believe.
You
Fucking
were-
retard.
Yeah, like, dude, what?
I thought
and
that
he-
was really cute that James was like, I just don't want anyone to leave Metallica. I
Yeah.
just don't want anyone paying more attention to
I haven't
something else than
abandoned it.
Metallica. I was like, yeah, this
Yeah.
guy's God, just where is he now? Where is he
Yeah.
now?
You gotta be
That's
like
really
Charlie Watts.
brave to be
Yeah.
that stupid that you leave Metallica over nothing.
Yeah, you got to be like Charlie Watts and just fucking do the Stones forever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you came into the band on a miracle. Like, they talk about Jason Newsted joining the band. He was crying on the Metallica fan page. Like, that, oh, Cliff died. And
I
like, you're
don't-
the new bass player. Yeah.
His energy in every interview when he looked like Rocky Dennis and
looked
had
like
the long hair. It's like,
David
what is
Foster
going on with
Wallace.
his appearance?
It
He
looked
used to
like-
have long Rocky Dennis red hair, and then he has like dyed black hair. He's just very depressing.
When he looks like David Foster Wallace in the Black Album recordings, he's just
Yeah,
like playing in the corner
yeah.
by himself. Like, but yeah, he joints to do a band called like Echo Brain, which is like this like jam band, like breakbeat ass like band, which you can tell they like go support him. They're like really nice. They go to the show. That
And Lars is upset about how big the crowd is, and it's like
yeah,
this not big place, like at
yeah.
all. It's again,
It
this
was
is
almost
like, how are they
condescending.
being
Yeah.
this real while being
Yeah.
recorded only
He's
in
like, we can't even make an
2003?
album.
Like,
I spent all the Metallica money suing Napster and fucking like James is fucking in the HP Lovecraft Moscow Center of Rehabilitation. We'll never be as good as Echo Brain, man. And it's like, dude, you guys fucking like saying trust me, you
I
guys are gonna make
love
me.
how insecure and weepy and like
Yeah,
just open about it they are.
yeah,
Like
dude.
they're really from a prior generation. Now this would all be like just people lying on their phones.
Yeah, yeah, social media ruined that because we'd all
Yeah.
see like people who weren't fans would like see clips and be
Yeah.
like, "Who the fuck are these losers?" You know what I mean? Being
Yeah, they would see
earnest.
the clips
Yeah,
and it would just be about one tiny little moment of it. And instead, it came out at the right time in 2003 where it was like pretty early in the documentary boom.
yes.
So yeah, it happened,
Sundance,
but
the big Sundance logo at the
yeah,
beginning, like on the trailer.
yeah.
They did a limited showing. Metallica's very big in the Bay Area just because they all the San Francisco like connections they have and stuff. So they did do showings at like the kind of small batch theater over here. And my dad took me and I loved it. But I didn't even understand like human interaction in that kind of way at age 13.
Mhm.
But now I watched it and I was like, this isn't really. It is funny. Like there's times that it's really funny, but like I'm like this isn't funny in the way that I was laughing at it when I was a kid. Like
No,
this
it's
is
not
actually
funny when you're like grown up and
yeah,
know how difficult things are,
yeah.
especially like managing a group of people for a long time.
So I have a very complicated relationship with Saint Anger, and it's not. So it's I've rested on the fact that I think it's okay now. That's where I'm at now. But I'll take you through the journey. It comes out in 2003, and I'm in seventh grade, and this is like when you discover an author that wrote books in the 70s, and then you get their book in like 2008, like their new novel,
Mhm.
and immediately I was like, I love this, and I found out, and then like Rolling Stone, I can't remember what Rolling Stone gave it, but like I remember Rolling Stone basically being like, let's see, they had it at like 2.5 stars. They were like, it's fine. What are they doing? Like, why are they trying to be like Corn? Like, why are they? This is weird. And at school, the kind of like rock guys at school were like, this is gay. Saint Anger sucks. Like, this is bad. And I think in my head, I was like, no, this is incredible. This is art. I took the lyric sheet. I knew all the lyrics, which the lyrics are stupid. Like
Mhm.
they're not anything. Like they're James Hetfield rehab lyrics about Frankenstein,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But they, I will say, and then even before we were gonna do this, about like a year ago, I went back and I was like, let's see if I still like Saint Anger because a lot of people hated it. It sold well. A lot of people hated it when it came out, but then it got some weird, like almost ironic reprisal, like in the way Nickelback did. And I was like, okay, let's see if I still like it. And then I like shut it off after like 4 or 5 songs. I was like, wow, what did I hear? It sounds like a tin can. Like what is happening? Sounds like it's
Oh my God, I
recorded.
love it.
So then now I'm like, there's like 5 or 6 songs that I really like on it, and then some that I think are awful. So, but you love it,
I love it. I had never listened to it until
really?
no,
Oh,
because I only
yeah,
I
yeah,
no, I had never listened to anything after Reload
yeah,
until doing this. And yeah, I think it's super fresh. I also just like everything from that period because it's
yeah.
when I was young, so it just reminds me of like happy times. But yeah, the negativity about it was clearly punishment for the Napster, journalistic punishment
Right.
for the
This is
Napster
what you were
stuff.
working on. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people, I mean, now that like new metal stuff and everything, like everybody has thought that's cool for a long time, which I have always
Yeah.
liked that kind of stuff. So it sounds really good to me. And for an 80-minute album, I was consistently entertained the whole time. Like I never care about like any Metallica lyrics, but it doesn't have much like it's very tasteful with the kind of like corn flourishes too. It doesn't have a bunch of that, but it
The,
was enough for people to like flip out and be like they're changing things. I don't know. It sounds pretty fresh to me right now.
yeah, and also, the wigger thing that's happening now.
Which
I
I
don't want to
don't
rain.
like. It's
I
dirtbag left to even
I
say that word.
right. I don't want to rain on people's parades, but if you're one of those guys that spent the 2010s getting your MFA and then eventually writing a book about the
I don't want to
internet,
hear anyone from New York City
yeah,
say the word wigger
yeah, I
ever
don't want to. I don't
again.
care about your wigger phase that you got into at like 28 after your MFA and your book about the internet that you wrote.
Everybody's like a fucking rich
Mhm.
nepotism trust fund freak pretending to be a wigger in their past and pretending to have this like low brow
Mhm.
like working
I'm from
class thing.
Connecticut, man. I'm from Connecticut and I wear jorts.
Yeah, Glenn and I were doing it when there was actual societal cost to
Yeah,
it, you
it's
know.
cultural
And we were
Yeah.
never
appropriation.
like we were never full on in the camp, but like it was like,
Yeah.
you know, it used to be a thing where people made like fun of you for it, and you had to actually stick your neck out a little
Women
bit.
didn't
And
Well,
want to fuck
also it
you.
was
Yeah.
there's
yeah,
this
it's,
misconception because this like Y2K and like early 2000s goth
Yeah.
clothes and imagery and like hot topic stuff is so popular with Zoomers right now, but there's this misconception that there were a lot of people that were like that and there weren't.
yeah,
There was like there would be like one person if you went to a normal school, there would be like one person who was like
Yeah.
beyond the pale of society who had
Yeah. Yeah.
like two things from Hot Topic. This was not like
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody wasn't going around like decked out in all this like expensive like
Like
Jinko
Stranger
like
Things
big.
in the 80s. Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
Zoomers do it is crazy.
Yeah.
This LARP that everybody like I
Yeah.
understand it because I am fond of this period too, but it just
Right.
was not most people were still normal then. Like everybody was not dressing like I was like goth in my school and it was because I like wore eyeliner a few times and had like some rubber bracelets. Like that
Like the
was it.
quadrophenia guy. Like, yeah.
Like like it didn't take much. It wasn't the whole you don't
Yeah.
have this whole outfit back then because that costs money. Nobody has a job when you're
Yeah.
like 15 except for like weird poor people, you know?
My
Like
grandparents when they saw that I had a surplus store army jacket and I wasn't in ROTC, they were like, "Is he okay? Is he all
yeah.
right? I'm just wearing an army jacket."
Yeah, and
It's just
then the culture has been dominated by goth, nerd, alternative
yes.
counterculture imagery. Like that's been the dominant everything for almost 2 decades now, for 15 years.
Yeah, and you missed it. It's not even like you're celebrating something. You're mad that you missed it because you spent the whole time being a master's degree fag. That's
Yeah.
that's what that's
And
you could
knowing your
tell.
IQ,
Yeah,
knowing what an
exactly.
IQ is, the
It was
like
high.
if
Yeah,
the
yeah,
opportunity
exactly.
to know your
Exactly.
IQ or like knowing how to know your IQ ever presented itself to you, then you're a fraud, you're a poser, you're
Yeah.
fake.
You paid to take a test that's low IQ.
And that's somehow like connected with like your racism now. Like, okay, I'm just
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I'm
over
doing
things.
hypergamy and I'm a
Yeah,
wigger.
but
Yeah.
I'm pro Saint Anger.
It
And
sounds good. It's I do
You
love the
like it? You like
snare.
it, Si?
I
You like
like
the
it.
snare? You like the
I
snare?
like the snare. I do. I
Wow.
because I don't know. I feel they had to really thread the needle, you know, with this,
Yeah.
and I think they pulled it off. Is I'll say that. You know.
Shoot Me
Yeah.
Again is a fucking sick song. That song, and
Yeah.
then Sweet Amber is really trashy and
I like
it's
that a
it sounds
lot.
like Coyote Ugly, like early 2000s, like
First,
stripper
I thought it
movie.
might be a song about perfume. I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
but it's not.
yeah,
It's just about a whore.
whore, just and James Hetfield's like that's what alcohol is to me, man. No, it's about a whore. You know what
Something
I mean?
also cool about Metallica is like no matter how much you read about them or watch about them or anything, there's no women in the story ever at any point.
Yeah,
So
except
like I was
yeah,
reading the
yeah,
whole like big Mick Wall book about them and it's like as if women don't exist and even though they're all married or whatever, it's just like off screen, just like
yeah.
no women
They
whatever.
didn't
If
get
they
married
made an
till they were like
HBO show,
40. Yeah,
a woke HBO show about Metallica as they probably will in some point, they would like invent a female composite character who's like,
yeah.
we should call it Master of Puppets. Like,
Yeah. Dave Mustaine's gonna be black, and they stole all the music from him.
yeah,
And Dave Mustaine's got an afro, but
yeah.
the one time I remember that I even heard them mention woman was in like I watched the like ripped like VHS copy of the behind the music on YouTube of Metallica, which is like 42 minutes long and repeats
Mhm.
itself like 4 times. times, and it's all about Cliff Burton dying and then drinking and then like selling out. Basically, is what Metallica's about. It's like L.A. nightclub, kill them
It's
all.
so awesome how thoughtlessly woman free this
But there's
entire
one
story
part.
is.
James Hetfield was like, I would go to my hotel room and 6 women were waiting in the bathtub for me. I'm like, you sure? I
Are
was like,
you
really?
really?
I feel like there was like one kind of fat girl with huge tits, and that's fine. I'm not against that. I just
Yeah,
mean, like,
there's like
yeah,
there's a few faceless groupies who like give them all blowjobs in succession, like in the mid
yeah.
80s, like very early, and then
Yeah.
like there's never a woman ever
They're just
again
waitresses
anywhere.
at the clubs that they
Yeah.
like. It's like very
And they're
like
more concerned about like whether it's gay to like get a blowjob from the same woman that blew someone else. Like, just like that level
yeah.
of like, are you really like metal if you're doing something
Yeah.
as gay as like using the same female
Yeah.
mouth that
Yeah.
blew another dick?
Because women don't like ride the lightning. Like that's not like women aren't gonna be like I have
This is
call,
Metallica is honestly awesomely woman proof. Like this
yeah.
is hermetically, it's hermetically sealed. Like aside from like somebody's girlfriend that liked going to concerts, you know, like that level
Yeah.
of woman interest, the rest of it's like pretty naturally gay keeps itself.
Yeah, I just get like a woman just like going into a woman's car and like you start it up to like and you know take it to get gas because they don't do that and then like they turn it on and it's Saint anger
That's
around like that would never happen.
That's literally like something that they would write into a Hulu TV show of like, yeah, I'm a spunky girl who's
Rachel
always loved
Sennett, yeah,
Metallica.
Rachel Sennett listens to Saint
Rachel
Anger.
Sennett with her like physical CDs of Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em
Yeah,
All.
yeah, the Criterion edition of Saint Anger. and like
Watch, it will absolutely
yeah,
happen, and people
yeah.
will be like, "What? You didn't know? Girls have always loved Metallica. History has
I'm
just
literally a
been
wigger.
erased."
I'm literally a wigger.
I'm literally a wigger.
In my Volkswagen Bug with the flower brake lights. You know what I mean? Like listening to Saint Anger. But yeah, I was wondering, Sai, if you like this album. Again, I settled right back in the middle because I was actually how much I hated it like a year ago, and I was like, oh no, I hate this. Like this is like I felt like part of my childhood being like lied to or something. Like I defended something that shouldn't have been defended, but you like it.
No, you're right.
No,
It's good.
I get when, and I did not like, I didn't even know about this album. It wasn't even on my map
Huge
when
debate
during
album.
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I mean, I get when something can be tainted when you just everything surrounding it when you hear, you know, and it's like, wait, is this cool and shit? I totally understand that, you know, where it's like not even like clowning on your day. Yeah, I've been there, you know.
It was your favorite band making an album in real time, so I'm like, I have to like it because it's like I got to go to the store and buy the new Metallica album.
Yeah,
Mhm.
2003 is a hard year to again. That's the post Napster LimeWire era when everyone, you know, it's like Danger Mouse and you know and like Modest Mouse and all that shit. Like whenever that's all the that's like what was cool back then. It was hard to thread the needle back then with
Yeah,
cool,
2003,
yeah.
what was happening with me, I was discovering that 80s music could be cool because like before that, like listening to something like 80s Madonna was like embarrassing. Like it was like, wow, the 80s sounded like gay. And then because of like Electro Clash and like hipster culture in the 2000s, it was like, whoa, like electronic 80s music is actually cool. So
Yeah.
that's what I was doing in 2003.
I remember
It was cooler what you were doing.
I remember at the time, like I was looking up like a song, and this is from a guy that was like from San Jose, I think. Like Trapped. There was a band called Trapped, Trapt, and they and the song was called Headstrong. Everybody's heard it. It's back off, I'll take you on. Headstrong. Yeah. It was just like very like it was very exactly. And the guy went to Bellarmine High School. I will understand why that's funny, but like it's just all boys like prep school and
private school.
Like, fuck off. Like it was just like that type of like music and it was very like X Games music. Like this is gonna be played at the X Games like for snowboarding and skateboarding.
Yeah, Mountain Dew Code Red. Like,
which I love that culture because it's like the last time that white people were like, fuck you, like angry and like fuck you and like we're tough like ever. You know, that was the last time the white people, and it was already being shitted on by like journalists and everything at the time because they were, you know, were
Yeah.
preparing us for the future of like any kind of white
That's
anger or assertion of white anything is systemically evil. But yeah, like
that's just
I'm
tiny
still from that
desks.
era where stuff like this sounds like tough and like heavy
Yeah.
and like
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
to
You just get
me.
like the Tresemme, like level 6 hold gel,
It's
and
like
just
what?
fucking spike your hair up and fuck
Yeah, and
you.
it's not just
Yeah,
like a joke. Like it was like
yeah,
real emotions. Like people weren't like suffused with this ironic, casually academic view of everything now
yeah,
that they had. Like everyone wasn't like casually a cinephile watching Mulholland Drive and Possession like they are
yeah, yeah,
now
yeah,
with
yeah.
like this ironic view of what they were doing. It was just kind of like, no, I actually am angry and this music is just like heavy and sick and awesome.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you know, your parents, like, if you were having that phase where it was like, oh, Glenn's slamming his door instead of closing it, you know, like that was like the thing. It wasn't like, oh, he's gonna cut his dick off now, like
Yeah, and it
he's like,
wasn't
yeah, the
there
stakes
wasn't
weren't as
this
high either.
giant like political
Yeah,
infrastructure like supporting your decision
yeah,
to like maybe try cutting your wrist one time. Like, you know,
yeah. You're
cutting
just in
wrist
your
was like a girl thing,
yeah,
but
you're just in your room learning how to jack off like furiously and listening to Saint Anger.
well, and it
That's what you
also
did in
just like
2008.
mattered a whole bunch, like amassing all this knowledge of music. Like it was like a project that was important
Yeah,
because like music was gonna be important forever. And so like if you were like an artistic person such as myself, you would have to know everything about music
right.
for some like imaginary career in the future.
I do love the addition of Rob Trujillo to the band because it's like taking the death metal Mexican and inserting him, the guy who became the fan after a while, and that's Metallica does that with their bass players all the time. It's like the biggest fan of the band. He was Ozzy. It was
Like they
like, you know,
hold a contest like on the back of a
they
cereal
literally
box.
do. Yeah, they
Yeah.
literally do. And some
It's
kind of monsters. They have
what's
women.
the
They're like
movie?
they pretend that they're
Rocks.
gonna add a woman.
It's like the Mark Wahlberg movie we did. What's
Yeah.
that?
Just,
Rockstar,
Rockstar.
Rockstar,
Yeah.
Steel
uh-huh.
Dragon, dudes for Steel Dragon, yeah,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and stand up and shout, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but Rob Trujillo is like a guy you would see at like the Megadeth, like at the Apocalypto ass like
Yeah.
Mayan sacrifice temple, like you look
Yeah,
like you would see him
absolutely
there.
just safely more unattractive than all of them. Like they're just really not going to allow anyone even remotely facially attractive into
And then
this
Kirk
band.
Hammett's like, wait, do I not get to be the ambiguous like racial guy anymore? Like,
There's
am I like,
two ambiguous. You have to
yeah,
look up the Wikipedia article
yeah.
Mexicans in this.
Yeah, we have an
Uh,
apocalypto sacrifice guy in our band now, and
yeah.
that's just is what it is. It's the 2000s, Kirk. Get with it.
It was a smart decision then, you know, Latino outreach to
Mhm. They
knowing who's going to be
love
coming
them
to your
some.
concerts.
They love them some metal. I'll tell you that much. My
Yeah.
goodness. I like the Mexican
I'm
guys
telling
have
you, it's
the ponytails. Their ponytails go down to like
yeah.
their heels, dude.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. I used to work with a guy named Silver. His name was just Silver, and he was literally he left our job at a warehouse to go dig graves at night, which I think he just did that because it was metal. Like I don't
Yeah.
even know if that's a good job.
Scary.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like, but he was also one of those like Kirk Hammett soft spoken guys too, where he loved like cats, you know, like those
Mhm.
metalhead guys that like paint Warhammer figurines and like pet cats all the time. Like yeah, it was just odd. Like it was, I've never been that type of guy, but it's funny to see that like they add Jason Newsted after who was the biggest Metallica fan gets added, and then Rob Trujillo leaves Ozzy for Metallica, which like that's not exactly at that time. I don't know how much of like a pay upgrade that is. Like, because they talk about, remember when they do the lawyer meeting with Rob Trujillo and
Mhm.
some kind of monster, and they're like, you get 5% and like no votes of anything. And
That
even
guy
like
would not know anything about what he's getting paid.
he was like, dude, I thought they were gonna
Just
pay
glad
me.
to be here.
Yeah, he's like, I thought I was paying. Yeah. I was like, I thought I was on a trial. I put my card on file. Like, yeah, he was like, yeah, but
I
it
just
was
looked it up. 45 mil net worth, respectable 45
Rob
mil.
Trujillo.
Nice.
Yeah, because he toured nonstop with what?
Yeah.
Ozzy and like somebody else. So when you tour constantly, like you just you probably don't
Yeah, you
spend that
stack
much
money.
money.
That's the
You probably don't spend that much
that's
money.
the Dave Matthews
Suicidal
method.
tendencies too. They're not for me,
Yeah.
but that's like kilt punk guys that wear kilts and shit. Like I'm not
Oof.
really into
I'm
that.
telling you, Rob Trujillo's read it too. Not even in a bad way, but in the like. There's the video of him playing flamenco guitar, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, dude, he
Yeah.
can do that!" And
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
such a like, yeah,
They
Yeah.
allow him in
yeah,
Metallica. We don't have to put that on the
It's
album, man.
Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They're like we're past our Spanish guitar phase. That was
Yeah.
in the early 90s. Thank you. I will say the revelation to me is the album I had never listened to because in 2008 I did not care to listen to a new Metallica album. I was in a different thing. I like Death Magnetic a lot.
It's good.
I can't tell you one song or what it sounds like, but I listened to the whole thing and I was waiting for a really bad song and it never happened. So I said, hey, you know what? You're playing with house money at this point. Anything after St. Anger's house money. As long as they're making albums so where they can have a few new songs that they can sandwich in between the old songs on tour and have them not sound like Peter Gabriel AI fucking horrible shit that he does now. Like they just sound like they're kind of from the same era if you perform them live. So that I thought it was pretty damn good. This is where they're with Rick Rubin, who's just meditating and like telling them to just do their old stuff, probably, but getting all sorts of credit for doing it.
No, it's really good. And these last three are all, I didn't finish the last one, 72 seasons, but they're all super Black Sabbath. Like they sound
Yes.
more Black Sabbath than any of the previous
Right.
Metallica albums, probably because they have to come up with some stuff to play slower since they're like older. But yeah, it's a lot of them have the big Black Sabbath sound. And I love the moment of Death Magnetic, the 2008 moment which was that very last gasp of CDs being sold. And so you would see the like cardboard displays of this cover at like Best Buy and everything. And
Target, yeah, big time.
it really was like the end of just like a legacy artist having that kind of like ubiquity. And, they were trying all those different gimmicks like deluxe editions and like
Symphony orchestra albums,
whatever, all this
yeah.
different shit to try to get you to buy it. But I don't does anyone listen to these? Because I never see anything about these last three Metallica albums, and I was
I think
enjoying
you have to have
them.
a tattoo of Metallica to even have purchased this. Like, you have to be like that level of like getting like a calf tattoo of like Metallica to where you're like buying that
I
up in
want a
real time.
calf tattoo of Metallica.
Hey.
It's cool that in 2016 this just like time warp as if as if you're in another era, like Metallica album comes out and it's like, who's listening to this?
Yeah, and I forgot to mention they did this thing. I remember it was big when they performed with a symphony orchestra, which everyone does now.
I hate that kind of shit.
Who's the guy? What's that one band that is it? The Trans-Siberian Orchestra where they play like the metal versions, like and it's like guys like Dragon Force guitar solos over it. Yeah, that shit is
like orchestras playing like video game themes. I hate that kind of like shit.
Or like
at the end of Tar, that movie,
like Bridgerton, like Bridgerton, where they're like playing like Raspberry Beret and like the Victorian. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those like time doesn't exist. Everything happened at the same time. Time is a flat circle, and we can play symphony versions of Fade to Black, like and whatever. It's just I don't care. But they did two albums and they called them S&M, Symphony and Metallica. It still doesn't work. I couldn't tell you anything about 72 Seasons. I know it's I think it was like they let Kirk Hammett make it because it has like numerology and stuff. And like, if you remember from like Some Kind of Monster, they were asking for Frantic, which I laugh at this line, but I say it all the time, is my lifestyle determines my death style. Like, it's such a funny like lyric, and they say birth is pain, death is pain, whatever. And they're asking Kirk Hammett because they're trying to do the new therapy of like everyone gets to say something about the song. And Kirk, he's like, what's that Buddhist thing you're always saying, Kirk? He's like, oh, birth is pain, death is pain, life is pain. And they're like, yeah. and then that's in the song. And I have a feeling he named the album the 72 Seasons album because they're just like, no one gives a shit what this album's called. We're gonna perform at the Sphere next year, which they are, and I'm gonna go. They're in Vegas. That will be my Sphere.
Oh,
debut.
awesome!
I'm gonna go.
It's gonna be insane.
Dude, they're gonna tear shit down. They look. James Hetfield looks incredible right now. If you see him, like he looks like he's like he looks like he has a show on like A&E where he's like running a store. Like that's what he looks like now. Like Pawn Star. He looks like a Pawn Stars like Orange County Choppers guy. Like that's what he looks like. And he's in like really good shape. He had to go to rehab like again in 2020, probably COVID related or something, like COVID lockdown kind of depression or something. I don't know if that he ever, but I noticed too that Kirk Hammett had to go to rehab, and then Lars just quit doing cocaine in like 2016 or something.
What?
I was like, Lars was doing coke the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. He said Noel Gallagher convinced.
I'm not persuaded that anyone was that much of a drug freak in this band. They try to make you think that there was some real like ribaldry and excess. It just doesn't. Maybe I'm desensitized from reading all the Motley Crue memoirs this year, but it just doesn't seem like that much. Just kind of some general sadness and some arguments and some solitary drinking. And Lars would not seem like the type of person to.
He has a kid with Connie Nielsen.
And I had never known who that is. She's in Nymphomaniac. She's like the mother in Nymphomaniac, and I never knew why her billing was so high, but I guess she's a big Danish celebrity because she's married to him.
She's in Gladiator. That's what I know her from. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she's just very generic, like woman.
Yeah.
Like, who is that?
Woman, kind of period piece core.
Yeah, like Clash of the Titans, like
woman. Just woman in gold armor, like that. But it's like, damn, like having a kid by Lars Ulrich, like that's crazy. Just being like,
he's real fucking nasty, and his little shorts with his legs spread all the time, and his appearance and his hair fluctuates so wildly in that documentary. Like he goes from like having like Eminem bleached short hair and like looks pretty good to have like balding long hair in the span of like
dude. Memorabilia shop owner, like look, it's rough, dude. And but it says Noel, this is from the 2000s. It says Noel Gallagher of Oasis claimed was the inspiration for Lars Ulrich to give up cocaine in the 2000s. That might be Wikipedia nonsense. I don't know, but I like that.
What?
I'm like, that's a weird way. Like he was the only guy who was just doing coke by himself in the band. That's it.
I don't buy that anything too exciting happened here. The person who goes through all the rock star memoirs and tells them that they're going to eventually have to go to AA is Steven Tyler. Like Steven Tyler shows up and like all like every single one of them, and he's like, he took me aside when I was at my rock bottom and told me, you're going to have to go to AA, man. I can show you the way. Like he goes and says that to all of them.
Yeah. He's
like everybody's friend and daddy who like took them to AA.
Yeah. He's like the fucking Chris Hansen. Like when Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator walks out, like you're like, oh shit. That's well, I mean, that's Metallica, guys. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. Listen, I mean, it's an impressive discography. I kept waiting for it to be terrible, and Load and Reload definitely.
There's tellingly not a Trump Derangement album also.
I know.
Isn't that amazing? I've covered so many fucking bands where there's three Trump Derangement late period albums to get through, and they're all 80 minutes long. I think Depeche Mode has the most.
Yeah. I actually legitimately love Neil Young, but I'm scared to do an episode on Neil Young because like I have to do the Spotify removal like
how do you even access music that's not on Spotify? I don't even.
Oh, it's back. Trust me, it's back.
Oh wait, he put it back. I can't keep up. Like I know like him and Joni Mitchell and all the hippies like took their music off Spotify because of Joe Rogan, and then
he tried to pull the same thing on Amazon for Bezos.
That's right.
Like just a couple weeks ago, he's like, oh, now I'm doing it to Amazon Music because of Bezos.
And all his fans are going to be dead like soon. So if you're like a streaming service, you're like, okay, so we're going to miss 5 years of music.
So wild to be that much of a boomer that you
Also, it's fake because he sold his whole catalog for like $400 million or some shit. It's
Which is
that's what they all
based.
do
Like
now.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like that's
yeah,
who
but you
owns
don't get
it? I love the
they
idea
sell
of
it to
like
like
selling your catalog like Michael Jackson, like
they
buying
all
the
do. No, they
Beatles.
all. It's actually
George.
they all do it.
I think
now.
Mackenzie
Yeah.
Bezos bought Neil Young's category. Isn't she the one that
Yeah.
gives like $80 million to like HBCUs of all the divorce money she got from?
What do you do with their catalog once you have it?
It's literally just it's,
to do
and I'm not
it?
even saying this like a, I'm not even saying this like a conspiracy angle. I literally think like BlackRock type corporations buy it up and they just try and like arbitrage it and make
Like
squeeze
resell
any
it.
last penny out of it or whatever. And
Oh, and you
yeah,
probably
it's like
sell it
all
to
the
commercials too. Like
Yeah.
You sell
like,
it, the biggest profit maker must be selling your 70s songs to like the Marvel movies, like the movie trailers where they do
Yeah.
like the female voice like slowed down like generals gathered in the masses like over the Marvel movie trailers. That's probably where you make the most money.
Yeah.
Make your friend.
100%.
That smells like the slow down smells like Teen Spirit for the new Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. The Rock the Casbah sung by a 22-year-old girl.
Yeah. Metallica is awesome and doesn't require much thought at all. It's just like the Kill 'Em All album cover where it's just like a hammer hitting you in the head and a bunch of blood explodes and that's
It'll
it.
take you out of current Thingville.
Totally. Yeah. It Monopoly, those first two albums especially just completely put you like on rails in the video game tunnel, as you said, Sai, and it feels really good to. I was like, wow, music can make me like feel like moving my legs around again. That's been a long time.
Yes, you're in one of those carts in Temple of Doom. Just like, hit the lights. Da, da, da. That's all. And then it's just pounding drums. Just that's all it is. Just pounding drums. James Hetfield. You can watch the live shows are fun. So like after you listen to the albums, you can like watch the live shows. They're still really good live. Like I'm gonna go see them. They're a lot of people. James Hetfield still sounds really good. They do all these like weird like where you like show up on like Sirius satellite radio and like talk to someone and then play like Nothing Else Matters. That's like they love doing stuff like that. They're still around. They like brought Dave Mustaine back on stage one time, and like Dave Mustaine like stood like really far away and was like playing, and they were like, "Yeah, Dave," and he's just
nice.
mad. But it's funny. I mean, again, I'm probably gonna listen to the new Megadeth album because there's his Ride the Lightning, which he claims is the famous recipe.
Finally, it's here. We've all been waiting.
Dude, like I just love. I'm sorry, his thought process kills me. Like he's really funny. Like where
I love him. I loved how
like
real he was in that documentary. I loved his watery brown eyes weeping.
Yeah, they kicked him out. The way they kicked him out of the band was like kind of fucked up. Where they like not for. I don't think they were wrong for doing it, but like they just were in New York about to record Kill Them All, and like they were saying like we got like $100 as a band to like go to New York from California. You know, this is in the 80s, but still, it's like fucking Greyhound bus probably and stuff. And Dave Mustaine, they like woke him up out of his sleep and they're like, "Hey, you're out of the band," and he's like. He said sarcastically, like, "When's my bus or when's my flight?" And they're like, "You have to take the bus." And he was probably like hung over as fuck, and he was just like, "I thought I was gonna be able to do like one album, because he would have left the band anyways. Like, there's no way he stays in Metallica forever. He would have wanted his own band. He would have done Echo Brain or whatever. I have no idea. But they're like, yeah, and we just threw his ass out of there. And I was like, yeah. They basically create like one of those like fantasy novel people of like a guy that hides in a castle forever and like
well they created like the Joker. That's what they created.
Yeah the sequester
can never be anything but the Joker.
He would be like a eunuch in like an old like medieval times thing, like a guy in a robe, like just like and they're like, "What's that guy's deal?" And they're like, "He knows everything." And you're like,
he fought back admirably compared to what most people would be capable of in that position. I mean, he succeeded at selling millions and millions of albums. He's a millionaire still, so he did it.
So thank you to Orion once again for helping us put this episode.
Yes, thank you. That was awesome.
Very, very, very fun stuff. And like I said, rcnow.org, and then support Perfume Nationalists on Patreon as well. Go check that out. He has a guiding light tier. You guys can pick either platform to put an episode together with Buffalo
Oh,
Joe,
okay.
another band for us.
Yeah,
To,
I was about to ask you if you care if I put this behind my paywall.
Well, I'm putting it out for free.
Oh,
so that's
you're putting it out
probably-
for free?
Yeah. So here's what I'll do. I'll cut this out at the end, but like what I'm gonna do is this guy sent me some cool like music. I'll put this together and then I'll just send it to you if that's cool.
Okay.
And then I'll leave the beginning open for your song, and then you can do it that way. He sent me some of that. That's the only reason. Like that's the case.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you can somehow, it's not a deal breaker if you can't, but just send me the video if you can.
Yeah, I'll send you the whole folder as soon as it finishes. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll get it. I mean, I'll get it out immediately. I'll get it done. So I got everything.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys.
All right, bye.
Later, guys.